cloud. Okay, we're good.
Immortalized in the cloud forever.
Unmute everybody. There you go. Megan, you can still unmute yourself. You're the only one.
Did it do it?
There you go.
All right. Welcome to the New Orleans Poetry Fest 2021 open mic. Every year at New Orleans Poetry Fest, we have marathon open mics like this. In 2019, we did a 5-hour open mic. This year, obviously online, doing something a little different. This will be a 4-hour virtual open mic with readers from all over the world. Looking forward to it. Should be nice. I think everyone should have received an email if you're reading. We have a 5-minute max. Obviously, keep it clean because I can easily boot you out of the room if you say anything offensive, racist, anything like that. I think we're all grown, so everybody should act right. Just kind of be mindful of time because we do have 33 readers. Everything's recorded, FYI. So if anyone wanted to see you read and they're not in the room, you can let them know. I will announce a couple of readers in advance so everyone knows that you can be prepared who's next and on board, but most of y'all should have your times anyway. And I will try to stick to the time as closely as possible. Running a little bit behind because we did try to get those closed captions up, which you should be seeing at the bottom of your screen. First up is going to be Nikolai Garcia. Is that you? Cool. Go. Whenever you're ready. Do it.
Hello. I'm Nikolai Garcia, and this is where I'm from. I don't smoke weed. I smoke palm trees. I rise in the clouds like the 110-105 interchange. I take back airspace from a LAPD chopper, examining freeways, concrete ribbons, anchoring our smog and beaches to the West Coast. Each night, I dream about Wanda Coleman. She tells me one day I'll be as big as the Watts Towers. She says, point your finger in any direction. Eventually, you'll hit a freeway. Her laugh, a roar. I marvel at how Manchester Avenue creeps into Firestone Boulevard. I promise myself, when the freeways begin to crumble and the city drifts into the Pacific, I will stand watch. When the final palm tree goes up in flames, Wanda Coleman's roar will be the last thing I want to hear. That was a poem called Wanda Coleman's Roar. I'm just going to read one more. This is called The Sound of an American Flag on Fire. It's that sound you hear when you turn off your TV. It's the sound that old men make at night as they sleep on the sidewalk outside empty buildings. It's the sound of air escaping your mouth after you get the notice that rent is increasing. It's that same sound you heard when you tore that ticket for jaywalking. It's the sound of your head getting slammed on a police cruiser, and the sound you hear when the power company shuts off your electricity after a hard day of working. It's the flash on a camera phone when a Latina border agent takes a selfie. It's that ringing in your ear when someone tells you to go back to your country. It's the click from a key as toddlers are locked in cages. It's the exact same sound you hear in your head when you look around and realize it doesn't have to be this way. Thank you.
Beautiful. Is that your art behind you? Wait, I can't hear you. I have to unmute you again. I was asking, is that your art behind you?
No, those are Hello Kitty prints from a couple like different street artists.
They're beautiful. I love them. Thank you so much, Nikolai. Thanks for joining us. All right, next up, we have Alex Gregor coming to us from Italy, where it's nighttime.
Almost. It's almost
nighttime.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan, thanks so much for being able to fit me in and also make my my time request work. I really appreciate it. I've got 2 poems to read today. They're both from a manuscript that I'm working on called The Dust That Sings. And one takes place in Buenos Aires in the Tigray Delta, and the second one actually takes place in what's kind of a mix between New Orleans and the Sardinian coast. So here goes. The first one's called the Hourglasses. When I carried my fiddle down to the river of silver, I paddled upstream through currents of molasses till I heard the bellows of Bandoneon fill up with the fog and the dew, then push out steam. So I slipped knot rope round rusty iron cleat and followed the trill of that squeeze box through the vines and the reeds till a boat dock became a mud path, became a stairwell climbing up into a treehouse where a tango guitarist was perched up on a generator gas can, where on the stove a pot of pasta was coming to a roiling boil, and a crock of boar ragout was simmering on a fiery eye, and a jug of wine was decanting in a wash tub base. So I stuck a spoon into that sauce and scraped the sides of the pan and fished out a noodle and threw it against the wall, seeing if it would stick. And I dipped a tin can down into that tub, raised my glass to the milonga on stilts and the guitarist in the corner and drank it down. And on the terrazza that overlooked that sunken muddy river delta was an oil drum fashioned into a grill where the singer was standing over the flames, whistling, flipping steaks, turning sausages and glazing chickens. And on top of the picnic table was the bandoneonista pumping along, the upright bassist thumping cat guts. So I pulled out my violin from my goatskin satchel and rosined up my bow. It wasn't until after we had eaten that I noticed that our tin cups had become hourglasses, that deep, dark, viscous red dripping from one chamber into the next. To this, the bass fiddler player turned to me and said, "So you in for this or what?" The bloated whale and the barfly, which was inspired by all of the whales that have been washing up onto the beaches around the Mediterranean, specifically Sardinia and Spain most recently. We was sitting along the bywater drinking white wine spritzers when a dead whale washed up on the shore all bloated and swollen. So we carried our glasses down to where the sand met the shore and poked the mammal with a stick till water shot out of the blowhole into our faces and anchovies slid out of its mouth onto our feet and a stench rose up from the sand into our noses so that we had to cover our mouths with our hands and step back from the carcass that laid out in front of us. And the boar hunter reached into his pocket and pulled out a knife, which he stuck into the belly of the whale and sliced open the blubber till the guts spilled out into the sand. And the gar fisherman, he pointed to the whale's stomach, and the hunter cut it open, spilling out a sea of plastic from the organ onto the sand so that it came knee deep on our legs. And we turned to the bartender who had wandered down to the beach with the crowd, who had poured himself a Campari spritz for a stroll, who shook his head and said, "Well, I'll be damned, that's the third one this week." And the barfly, standing next to the bartender with a fernet in hand, grunted, cleared his throat, looked out at the horizon, spat, and began. "These seas, these seas, these seas are strange seas," howls the barfly, one hand in the pocket of his swimming shorts and the other wrapped around a koozie snug tight on his bottle, staggering around the trash, speaking in tongues to the crowd. "These navel gazers, they do the fine figure on top of a pile of rubbish with their heads in the past. These coal miners, they dynamite their mountaintops and let the lead seep deep into the watershed, then slurp up Mountain Dew and Dust Bowl. And when the soil is gone, these bankers sweep their yards with a witch's broom, then wonder why the roots won't hold. The seedy panhandle beach town drunk is peering out into the mouth of the whale now, poking and prodding its teeth and massive swollen tongues, saying, 'This don't come from the head, this come from the gut.' So I run between a shotgun and a trombone. I munch down on a grasshopper and stick my finger into a milk cow and moan, then cry out, Yahoo! With the Cadillacs at our door with a suit and tie in hand, we grass, we bamboo, we harvest our rocks from this old sea floor and build shells to horseshoe, nautilus, hermit, and conch. He's standing on top of the Leviathan now, fingering the blowhole and raising his glass to the sky, proposing a toast. Here's to Daedalus flying too close to the sun. May our wings of wax melt like a block of butter, baby. Here's to the rhapsodes with lyres spinning tall tales from threads of silk. Here's to Homer with the forminx, a real rhyme spitter. Here's to Moses with his staff, parting the seas. Here's to that muddy river delta, spreading its fingers across the blue bayou. Here's to the sprawling low country, flooding with water broth, both brackish and sweet. Here's to the glistening bar dripping with seawater, reading the language of stars. Here's to the bicycle that sharpens knives. Oh, sweet salvation, my glass is neither too empty nor too full. It's just enough, like when you feel the ground beneath your feet, like when you feel the pink dolphin between your legs, like when you snap a snake's head off by swinging them round your head, saying, we are the dust that sings, we are the sediment that moans, we are the sand that howls, we yelp, yelp, and yip, yep, yep. The barfly goes on, pacing around the crowd, spit flying from his mouth into their faces, the skin under his chin shaking like a turkey waddle. And at nightfall, we rise to the surface with the krill, the plankton await us. Oh, copepods shedding light. Oh, lump of mud spinning into a clay pot. Oh, mud skipper crawling up the banks. Oh, stream of sand slipping down an hourglass. Let's push through this glass ceiling and bust it. Thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you. I'm fascinated by this closed captioning because it both picks it up so well, but then like every now and then translates. So it's like writing its own poems too. And I'm fascinated by everything that's happening. Thank you for dialing in from Italy. Amazing. Have a good night. I hope you sleep well. Next up, we have Candace Wool. She's in the
I've been
room.
asking
Thank-
Candace to, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks, Megan. Okay, I've got a new book coming out a month from tomorrow. It's called Fidelitoria, Fixed or Flexed, and I'm just going to read a couple poems from that. Soft sort of air. My real hair unhinged from my head. Was I a blonde girl anymore or an experimental light? A way for others to see through water, ashes. I've already said what I am afraid of. Yonder. I asked my father on the other end about procession, peaceful parting. Candy, keep yourself and give your things. He means give up, give way, keep falling from windows in order to assure the greatness of your own height, if only to be the wreck of your own pure lightness. Only on a second-story hotel balcony, bonds can be broken with the world one can come to skim, to see his surface. Chlorinated, incalculable current, unbearable, without tallied reflections. Stop. In the rented room's mirror, the face I deserve, and underneath another atmosphere I have never endured. I doubt it is oceanic, operable by infallible salts, or expanse of warm blues, cool blues, an indigo, a lapis, a lazuli. Instead, I suspect a smallness. No, a clarity. No, a clarity. No, a clarity. A cross at a crossing. A dryness delivering, upending, as does specifically dirt in demand of a grave. Just a thin yield, as earth under blade, giving to pressure within freeze, shale. I know the odd dumb organ breaks beneath my breasts, never showing, and only even aware of itself because of the occasioned hand pushing back my hair to comment, I can hear yourself. Have I already said what I am afraid of? I have already tried to fuse this bare flicker, nude synapse. And the next poem I'm going to read has an expletive in the title, so I won't read the whole thing, but it's F off, but then it has the 3 of hearts from the tarot cards surrounding it. So do what you will with that. Bravery was nothing. Call it the escaped whelp. Call it the emotion with no memory and no count, no rhythm, and therefore no record worth repetition for the keeper's account. Bravery was nothing but the dumbest animal's ability to stand and stand and stand alone in the pasture past the time others felt en masse. I would not think it through. In order to allow for every hoof you have to harm the hard-packed earth, I stood still. I am monster of endurance for you. It happened while I was holding my heart in a bag by the bag I keep my stomach in. I told you I don't need to eat. You eat. I'm admiring you, your baby teeth and curated crawl, you ravenous wolf, you whip. I want to be a bridesmaid all my life in your eternal train, only because you promised to marry everything, only because I'm the bitch and you're the doggess. I did it for. Hound girl, would I have come to believe there was light worth love without your howl? I mean, I know an unshatterable slant, resilient strain of all the concrete covering the earth, and also the low pools of dim, dark glow. Also, in the end, even when alone, expanded in the street with another, explaining I counted on you to count myself, and having lost you, I was only nothing. I need two to know I was one. I needed the forgery to know I was unforged creation. And then I'll end with just a little tiny short poem from Death Industrial Complex called Alpenglow 2. Take the sheen off death, spit, polish, a scurve of rainbow, scum of the century, blended in the in-between. This is the when my head becomes a camera and I giggle in the grave. Try to take it off. Try to take off the costume you were born in. Can you find the hinge? I can't. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came read. Congratulations on your new book.
Thanks.
Candace's last book was all about Francesca Woodman and her photographs, Death Industrial Complex. There it is from Action Books. It's an amazing book. So check it out if you haven't already. Next up, we have, and please help me say your name because I don't want to mispronounce it, Gabor Jukic.
No, Jukic. Just call me Gabor. Hi.
Gabor.
Hi, Gabor.
Yeah,
And where are you coming from?
I'm from Hungary.
Hey, you're in Hungary right now. We're so glad to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Is Jonathan still there?
He is
I
here.
am.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I have an IRA, couple of IRAs up on my top of my head, but you don't see it, but whatever. Okay, I'll be short. I'm a short poet, a poem poet,
Me
I
too.
guess.
I'm a short poet.
Oh, I'm 186. Okay, here we go. I see you now. Oh, and Delia says hi, Megan.
Oh, hi.
Whichever Delia is. Okay. In vain. With my left hand on probation, I'm looking for my father and my mother in my pocket. I drag them out and put them into my other pocket, but they fall back. They don't like the climate. Next one. About to decide. Through the interfacial hair-tiny crack of the locked train window, blown in snow pellets freeze an iced relief on the windowsill. The rushing train scares a heron away from the ice-edged marsh along the tracks. A raven chases off a pair of turtle doves from a pine tree bough to see the tracks drilling through the woods. A pine needle punctures the snow and suffocates in an ice sea. A magpie is watching all these. The bird is still at home. It wouldn't want to go where the sky is not the same. I guess this translation really fucks up because of my accent, right? Does anyone understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. The noontide and the chemist. The funnel of a once-to-come quizzical noontide edged itself to the long-colored branches of ancient trees. A subtle chemist surprised the seashell crowd by burning himself and becoming the subject of his own chemistry as he was washed away. The residue didn't register anywhere. Only a saw-toothed shadow of a scapula was seen later under a sinister cliffside. You see this book, Jonathan, you wrote a little review of it for the Amazon thing. I thank you for that. Okay, I visited a friend in Savannah, Georgia, took me to the cemetery. So it's called Cemetery at River Savannah. Leaning to the oyster brick fence, watching as ants order ants to labor, you seem to perceive whips in their forearms. You won't talk about the place you have visited in your dream to anyone. With pre-written answers, you ignore the questioners. You smooth your forehead. The peeling of your skin is wind-blown dust. Under the moonless sky, your shadow walks the sun to the other side.
Beautiful.
And a very short. Am I okay with time?
Yes, you're good.
You just cut me off, you know. It's a love poem.
Yay.
It's not that kind of love poem. It's called Chairs. Not school chairs, chairs. These chairs should be rearranged, she said. Who would do that? I said. You, came her answer. As she sat, I moved the other chair close to hers. Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you for my Louisiana 5-minute fame.
Thank you for coming to us
Hey,
from
Jonathan.
Hungary.
Okay,
I
I'll
like
stick
that
around.
love poem. It's beautiful. I told y'all I was going to tell you the people coming up, and I haven't been doing that, but I will do it now. Next up, we're going to have JJ Rowan. And then after that will be Justin LaCour and Lucinda Clark. So there's the people who are on deck. But next up, we have JJ Rowan. And I believe that's Quarantine House. Or no,
It's
they
me now.
are JJ Rowan now.
I am. Thank you, Megan. Hi, I'm JJ. I'm reading to you here from morning time in Oregon, where I'm allergic to everything. So I'm pretty froggy, but I'm going to get through it. I'm going to read a few pages from this. This is A Simple Verb, which is my chapbook from Bloof Books with this very lovely cover that Shanna Compton made.
Love her.
Yes, me too. All right, here we go. Oh, a quick content warning. This whole poem is generally in conversation with abuse and self-harm, so that's going to come up a little bit.
Thank you.
The future tends to continue. Can a future ever end? Was I ever that small? Was I ever so small? A violence touches your body, you become enormous. A well of feeling you drag along, or else it drags you. Where feeling used to go, numb blockade, immovable, body becomes mute and enormous, unseeable and impossible to hide from view, the unanswerable question. You fear you might never cease to exist. Eternity is the terrifying and deep plausibility. Forever wakes you in the night, pulling back your covers under cover of dark. Forever presses its fingers into you by television light. Forever stops letting you use the bathroom alone, humiliates you by a variety of lights in a variety of proximities, and in the letter, forever offers to take you. The offer is a threat, the threat is forever. The women, suddenly partless, suddenly removed, free of wellness, free of parts, unbodied, undone. No one can touch you when you're partless. No one can hurt you when you're bodiless. No one can enter you a thin red line in a big book way under the ground. We arrive at the end of the future. This is not a poem about boxing. This is not a poem about a body entering itself in a ledger. Columns for forms of self, none. Blank columns expecting, fists in rows, slow self in bottle pouring on, self-made arrangements for the unknown, self-imposed fever, self-collected strain. When saturation happens, it doesn't just happen, it reverse happens. Self in disguise of other self, self-careful. This is not the poem. The poem is the moment you realize you're being watched versus the moment you realize you're being listened to. You set the moment on your tongue, deep in the socket of your hip, snug against your cornea. what the simple verb is versus what the simple verb wants. Hold a simple verb in your body long enough, it complexes. You become your own diagram. Slow down the self, or self slows downer. Get self up, or self stays down. If the letters are apparent, can the self be? Sink self, there are other means of sailing. Cut self up, everything better in pieces. Flatten self, we all know about flatness. Carry self, no one else is going to do it. Pockets full of others, self on floor. In winter, self goes underground, by which I mean a self is made of holes. Words belong to others, but letters don't belong anywhere. Self belongs to whole in self. Self in whole, whole in self belongs on a loop. Pull self out of self, get whole. Pull whole out of self, get bigger whole. Fall inside self, okay, maybe self always, already falling down, bumping into things, crashing cars, bruising, wheezing, bleeding a little bit, applying gauze and ointments, bleeding a lot, coughing, breaking, ow, out, out self, out whole self. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I love that. All right. We're doing good on time, y'all. Look at us. Look at us. Next up, we have Justin LaCour, and then following that will be Lucinda Clark on deck. Justin?
Hi, Megan.
There you are. I haven't seen your face in forever. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm just going to read 3 very short sonnets that are not really sonnets, but they are short. So
There you are.
This is called Palookaville. Over the interstate by the water tank, there's a billboard of a personal injury attorney and his dog. The dog is wearing a shirt and tie, like it's a lawyer too. Okay, I just wanted to let you know this is a thing, though not a thing we do, which I guess is the point. I want us to have a code, like daffodils have a code, like silk moths have a code. Here comes the night, nervous as my fingers on your waist. Porch lights flicker and music trembles in from the alley. Sometimes a slow song comes on and I think, as if you were here. And this one's called What Happened to Tonight. I wanted to talk, but the night got away. I listened to the same sad sack song over and over because it shares your name. The singer claims he's wasted, but on what? Mike's Hard Lemonade or some other alternative? Most likely. Nothing that would help me walk the thin blade of slapstick and flirtation. I need something to give me gravitas. Boilermakers, those cigars with the wooden tip. So you believe me when I say your animal isn't an owl made of dust or a fox made of snow. I picture a raccoon sprawled over your shoulders. You feed it the sweet drunk of leftovers. Promise it can live in your kitchen when all the trees are gone. I'll do just one more quick one.
Yes.
This is called What Next? Did you see the news? It's a concussed day in the Republic. 2 girls in bikinis tossing a rubber brain back and forth. Is this history? No. History is what happens when you're trying to make mojitos, put kids to bed, when you're trying not to look. Please don't cry. I'll do the thing where I pound the table so hard food jumps off the plate and into my mouth. That used to cheer you up. There are crowds and debris, sad songs in the streets. I want to carry you away from all this. I'll put you down someplace safe, like where the forest has taken back the strip club, where no one sees your tears and the stage belongs to the trees.
I forgot I might have to mute myself because you always make me laugh out loud. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. I miss
really good
you.
seeing you, Megan.
Yeah. All right. I'll just look at the chat real quick. Next up, we have Lucinda Clark.
Yes. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
I wanted to thank you and the New Orleans Poetry Festival for allowing me to share your stage today. I've only been here briefly, but I did my formative years in New Orleans. And so it's just so moving to be able to come back, albeit virtually, to just share some of my work.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with the first one. I thought I'd be a little upbeat. This one's called Alien Observation 1. And I want to see if you all can guess what this alien is describing. Some would say for women, it is an essential. No self-respecting lady would be caught dead without it. The multicolored cylinder is deceptive, for what lies within has much significance, my friend. It has the power to transform a tight-laced soul into a harlot. A plain Jane's features come to life with just 2 quick strokes. Oh yes, that small compact cylinder sitting there harmlessly contains a substance that has sent many a military man off to war, stained many a coffee cup, sealed many love letters, even tucked small children into bed at night. It has smudged many a cheek in friendship and served as proof of infidelity. It has covered lips that have cried out over injustices, marked many things as a sign of love. That cylinder contains what they call lipstick. Comes in many colors and shades, comes in more colors and shades than you can imagine. Its powers are intensified by the woman who puts it on, for it is rare for the males of the species to indulge. Understand its true purpose, to enhance the inner beauty that she, the wearer, already possesses inside.
Beautiful.
My next observation by aliens. I live here in the Augusta Martinez area, and so we are gearing up not just for Easter but for Masters Week. And so this poem, it pays tribute to an alien's observation of golf. Want to share with you what I learned about a game. No, that's not right. A sport that is very popular among a certain set. I may have misidentified it because depending on who you believe, it's described as a game, a sport, like religion, and a weekend widowmaker. It involves things like bunkers, greens, and fairways, tees and sand traps, carts and foursomes, drivers, irons, putters, and a tiny white ball. It ends after 18 holes with par 3s, 5s, and lots of water. That little ball is chipped, birdied, bogeyed, driven, and holed in one. That last one gets a player very excited. It's played in country clubs, on beaches, on recycled landfills, in swamp-like areas with alligators, and in beautiful places like Augusta. I was told that one time only rich guys played. Now all kinds of guys do, and lots of women too. Even children play. It has heroes and legends and chokers like Arnie, Jack, and Tiger, and one called Greg the Shark. At first, I thought it was all about striking a tiny white ball many times over great distances and small distances for hours. Then I went out to where they play and learned it's a solo player with a bag of clubs and a tiny white ball out in jaw-droppingly beautiful natural surroundings, battling to be one's best self.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, so do I have time for one more or?
You want to do one
time?
more? Yeah, sure. We're doing
Okay.
great on time.
Okay, this last one and all the poems that I read are from my View from the Middle of the Road series. I wanted to shout out that this month we'll begin celebrating our 21st year with the Poetry Matters Project. If you're interested in finding out more about us, just Google Poetry Matters Project. We're on all the social medias. This last poem is titled Mantra of a Bridge Builder. It's a poem that I wrote and had translated in several languages, and its significance grows every time I have to explain to the translator what I'm talking about, because I found that sometimes there are no words that match the English meaning. Mantra of a bridge builder. I am a bridge builder. I build based upon where I travel. I build on happy days and sad days. I have built during times I felt I could not and possibly should not go on. My bridge building is based on following a road, a dominant thought, changes in my worldview. Added to each bridge's structure are things that I have seen, have heard, things I have read, ideas I have opened and closed my eyes, heart, and mind to. The length and strength of some of these bridges are undetermined and much too far away for my mind's eye to reach. Only the passage of time will determine. Each bridge's purpose is to open new gateways, pathways, and give opportunity to those who are and are not like me, to enrich all just by having come this way. And maybe, just maybe, when my bridge building days are done, what has been built, even as I lapse into dust, lives on.
Yes, yes.
I
love
wanna
that.
thank you all. I want to thank you all for the opportunity, and I'll be tuning in.
Great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. If George Hill is in the room, I don't see your name on here. So if you are in the room under a different name,
Hit us in the
just hit
chat.
me in the chat. Yeah. And let me know. Hold on one second. All right, we might circle back to George Hill. Let's see if he gets into the room. Next up, then we're just moving a little faster because we're going to circle back to George. Kane, if you're ready, Kane Beavan,
Hi, you're right.
are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
One, let's go.
Okay, I'm going to do 2 poems from my book. Can't really see it there, but it's called Scraping the Barrel. I'll put a link in chat later. This is the first one, and it's called A Glimpse of God. As such, she wasn't much of a religious person, but she did once catch a glimpse of God in the form of a drunken, foul-mouthed, abusive creature known rather laughably as a husband. She didn't do anything wrong, of course. People in these types of situations very seldom do, except that's where it's been. I wonder out loud why he came home in such a state. But from too much lager descended a red mist, along with a fist. She caught the blow and the very first glimpse of God. Meanwhile, upstairs lay the only evidence that love did once exist between that couple. Just for one bit of evidence, mind you, in the form of a child. And he lay there, scared, frightened, not knowing what to do, not aware of what caused the trouble, just aware that it were present. And he lay there, frightened, that one day he may actually have to pick sides between the 2 people whom he loved, in the way most children love their parents, of course. But it will be that unconditional love that will be the first casualty in years to come, when the custody battles and the social services will become a horrific, harrowing reality. The neighbours, obviously tried to help, but only moved in once the trouble was finished, and it was too late. But it gave them the feel-good factor and something to gossip about before going back to the dull, dreary, non-soap opera-esque lives. After all, it was just another man out on the batter, and no one were really hurt, were they? Well, were they? And another last one, as I'll only do two to make sure people get a chance to do their bits. This one's about bullying as kids, and it's called Remember. Remember that girl at school? Remember how she used to cry at the names everyone called her? Remember that look of innocence you'd pull when she went to the teacher, just so you could make her sing like a liar? Do you remember? Remember how you'd nod your head in class in agreement with the often repeated phrase about how bullying were bad? Remember reciting the rhyme about sticks and stones and bones and words? Then walking up to that lass and trying to tear the hair out of her skull as soon as the bell went? Do you remember? Remember how she switched schools, thinking the grass would be greener, but came back when it turned out that that greener grass was just astroturf, and no matter how far she ran, the taunts and words would travel much faster and further than she ever could. Remember taking the mick out of her for that too? Do you remember? Do you remember how she'd drink? Years later, as she'd neck them faster than the barman could pour them in an effort to escape the memories? Remember how she'd stagger about at all hours, and you'd just sneer about how you knew her at school and how she was a mess even then? Do you remember? Remember how she died? Remember how she just gave up? Remember seeing the flowers at the place where she took her own life? Remember thinking what a waste it was and going onto social media to tell everyone to be kind, whilst thinking of the way that you treated her throughout the years? Do you remember? Remember staying awake at night, replaying the past in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently? Remember teaching your kid that rhyme about sticks and stones and bones and words, whilst knowing full well that that rhyme was just as useless as the Monopoly money you were playing with earlier? Remember being sat at home on your child's first day at school when she came home in tears? Do you remember? Will you forget? Thank you very much. Cheers. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Where are you reading to us from? Is he muted?
Yeah.
I'm reading from Halifax in England.
Yeah, I thought I remembered that.
So,
I love how many international readers we have in this reading.
well, if you do this next year, I've been looking at plane flights. So I know how much it costs now. So,
Oh, good. Join us next year in person. I'd love that. How's England?
It's crossed.
Good. I hope England's doing well. We had a reader earlier from Rome, Alex Greger, that I was talking to. And Alex, I told you my uncle lived in Rome. He's in the room actually right now, David Colbert. We were talking about how my uncle had lived in Rome, but it's so cool to have all these international poets available. I guess I can accept Zoom if it gives me that. I accept Zoom and online readings. All right, we're doing great on time, y'all. I did have a volunteer say they wanted to jump in since we were missing a reader. So Tyler Vile, if you're ready, you can jump on and share a poem with us.
I'm hitting S to unmute.
Yes, we're gonna unmute you and bring you in.
Hi, my name is Tyler Vile. I'm reading from Baltimore. And JJ, who is my partner, read earlier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read just a couple of from my book, which I'm not going to read upside down, I promise. This is called Never Coming Home. This came out in 2015, so it's like 6 years old now. It's ready for elementary school almost. I'm going to read just two quick ones. And there is a lot of childhood trauma in this one as well. And this poem is called Body, My Hips. My hips are tiny. Not what you'd call birthing hips, really. They shake, but not always on the dance floor. Left bone coming out of its socket like a cue ball. There is a dance in the swaying of my gait. One foot sideways in front of the other. I like to trace the scar on my left hip, naked, alone, standing in front of the shower, trying not to lock my knees. I always feel like I'm gonna fall. Damn wobbly hips, always crooked. I'm sorry I ever cursed them. If I've cried into them, if we went through another surgery, I think I'd get up with them and relearn how to walk. And then this last one I'm gonna read is called Mermaid, and it is sort of my ode to the Chesapeake Bay, which is the body of water that surrounds Baltimore and the state of Maryland. Mermaid. Losing gravity in the Chesapeake, grooved leg bones slowly fusing, skin forming into scales, wet, wavy hair streaking across my shoulders, clamshell bra falling off. Face in the water, not trying to drown for once. My bones don't click anymore. I'm not waiting or standing in the water like a crane. I'm not gasping. I'm swimming away. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love your poetry cat that joined you as well during the reading.
Switch.
Just let you know, next up, we're going to have Sarah Ray, and then following Sarah Ray will be C.S. Carrier, and then following that will be Margot Toombs, just to let you know who's on deck for other readers. Also, George Hill, if you come in the room, let me know you're here, and we will circle back to you. Right now, we'll take Sarah Ray. If you're ready, you're up.
All right, thank you so much. It's
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for all your work and just great to be here. So I'm going to start with a poem that I translated by the Mexican poet Guadalupe Angela. I had the privilege of translating some of her poetry. Unfortunately, she passed away about a year ago. So I'm going to read my translation of her poem first in English, and then I'm going to read her original Spanish poem. Forgive my pronunciation, I'm not a native speaker of Spanish. This is untitled. I will not be the ice skater who yearns for the white trees, the solitude of the parks. The wetsuit that outlines that skillful figure will not cling to me. I will not have the balance the blade requires to etch geometric figures in the ice. I will not move more swiftly if I let the flow of air currents take me away. I will not be the bird that begins her flight at the same level as the Great Lakes of the North. No seré la patinadora que anhela los árboles blancos, la soledad de los parques. No me ceñirá el traje de buzo que delinea la diestra figura. No tendré el balance que exige la cuchilla al escribir geometrías en el hielo. No seré más veloz al compartir la ruta de las corrientes de aire. No seré ave que inicia el vuelo a ras de los grandes lagos del norte. Guadalupe Angela. Okay. And next, I'm going to read a poem from my chapbook, Someplace Else. Came out from Dancing Girl Press last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her.
Shout out to Dancy Girl and Christy Bowen. Okay,
Yeah, Christy.
and Chicago. All right, where I'm coming from. The living through the pandemic the last year had me thinking a lot about the war in Vietnam and the AIDS crisis, both of which I lived through in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So this poem addresses both Vietnam and the AIDS crisis in some ways, and also talks about metal bracelets that some of us in the 1970s got that had the names of POWs, prisoners of war, or MIAs, soldiers missing in action, had their names on them. And then we would wear the bracelets, and then if our POW or MIA was rescued, we would cut off the bracelet and send it to them. And unfortunately, that didn't happen very often. So this is Vietnam for Liesl Richardson in memoriam. In grade school, I'd wake at 7, stumble into the kitchen, sit at the breakfast table with mom, dad, my brother, and the CBS radio, where we'd listen to the daily report about casualties in Vietnam. I'd ask my parents if the war was over, their answer always the same. In junior high, my friends and I got metal bracelets inscribed with the names of POWs or MIAs. Most of us had those with MIAs because there were so many more of them. At the end of the year, Susan Lewis's POW was rescued, so she got to send him her bracelet while the rest of us watched our bands corrode, our skin turn green. The year I started high school, Nixon decided to withdraw the troops. He made the announcement the same day I took a trip with my church choir to Chicago to see Jesus Christ Superstar. We went with the handsome choir director we all had a crush on, who died of AIDS 15 years later. On the way back to Champaign, stopping for hamburgers at Howard Johnson's in Kankakee, we sang "I Don't Know How to Love Him" to the wait staff as Thousand Island dressing drowned the iceberg lettuce in our salads. Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I've never heard of that tradition though.
Yeah,
with the bracelets.
Yeah. It was a thing. It totally was a thing.
That's quite a, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, it was, yeah, like I said, we had them and unfortunately not very many, were rescued. So, all right. So the last one I'm going to read, I took a workshop about the poetry of Bob Kaufman this past fall. San Francisco beat poet Bob Kaufman. And so one of the prompts was to look for a line of his and then kind of riff off of it. So that's what I did with this one. It's called Into the Jelly and begins with a poem from his jail poem sequence. Now they give a new form, quivering jelly-like, Bob Kaufman. Jelly, like jelly, like jelly, like the form, the formation. Mom making jelly, the grape jelly of my childhood. She canned the jelly. I made some too, in the form, in the kitchen of my childhood. The jelly quivering, quavering. I'm thinking about my lover and him quivering, and I'm quivering for you like jelly. I made banana and peach jelly. I want to go back to my high school self. Let me go back through the jelly of time, but not stay forever. I have to push forward, push me clear. It's tinted grape, purple, tint me a new color now. I want to be part of the life jelly, dissolved sugar melding, transforming, forming to something else jelly, spreading over. I can see the surface through jelly. It's not all pretty down there. There are cracks and crevices we fall into, some fractures, some furrows, and yet we quiver now, quiver through our lives, in our forms, through our joys and our ruinous worlds in all our days. To each other, we take up the quiver, quiver through the new form, through the now jelly, through the jelly of time. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bob Kaufman was born in New Orleans. New Orleans poet. Thank you so much. Checking in. Yeah. All right, next up, we're a little bit above time, but if you're in the room, I assume you're probably ready to roll. So next up will be C.S. Carrier.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're a little ahead of time, but if you're ready to go, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here participating in this and all the other things in April for the New Orleans Poetry Fest. I'm like a huge fan of the New Orleans Poetry Fest. I think I've been to every one at this point.
Yay!
Yeah.
Come next year. For
Yeah,
real.
totally. Definitely. Okay. I'm going to read two poems. The first poem is called Ars Terroir, which is a play on Ars Poetica. The A and the R in my poem is capitalized. They're capitalized as a nod to the abbreviation state of Arkansas, which is where I'm from now. And terroir has been replaced with, or Poetica has been replaced with terroir, blah, blah, blah. Here I go. Ars Terroir. This poem is about poetry, about where I live. It has dicamba in it, death in it, rice, cotton, soybean fields burning under blue under the sun. This poem has place in it, weeds dying by dicamba that makes them eat their nutrients too quickly. I am this place. I sit on the porch looking at the sky under the sky. I am a field. Poetry is a field. We are burning fields. We burn words under the air, under death that creeps across our shoulders with smoke. Smoke where I live, entropy where I live, a place where death creeps along everything, eating nutrients with chlorine, burning milk with steroids. Poetry crystallizes everywhere, even if I cannot see, either under the dirt, under the weeds, either drifting through the rivers, through the blood. It is my body, the bodies of flies, salamanders, mice, cows. I hear dicamba drifting across the fields as I do, the blood flowing through my ears. I hear it as I do, smoke creeping through the trees conifers, notes brittle with death that is real. Dicamba burns what grows here in time. It burns the milk of the cows, the teeth of the mice, the skulls of the salamanders. Death, it spikes the river with flies, with blooms. Where I live lives on salt, on dirt. It has blue notes in it, blue fields, blue nutrients, red blood, red crystals, red fields, mortgages with death, with imagination. I wipe my eyes, drink my beer. I think of poetry, this burning place. I am a body, I have a shoulder. This poem is a body, it has blood. Our bodies are made of smaller bodies, our notes of smaller notes. I die under entropy. Poetry does not, even with death in it, bleeding from spikes, not even if the damage is real, not even if imaginary. In an autumn town where I live, one dies by another 7 times over dicamba drift damage. I imagine dicamba creeping across the fields, steroids bubbling on the land, salts burning up the bodies. I think poetry can bring back the dead. I want this poem to bring back the dead to life with milk. Come dead back to life. This poem is about life, about wanting to live everywhere, even with entropy flying through every word, body, field, reality, imagination. It is not brittle. It is alive where I live, watching evening bloom on the autumn sky. And I'm just going to read one more. It's a short one. Thanks for having me. It's called Note to Self. Gray settles into your beard. Your heart fills with blood it shouldn't have. You're closer to death than you were, but it won't happen tonight. Your parents move between the houses, smuggling the air, suckling their tongues. Even if they leave you their pointy white stilts, doesn't mean you have to use them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. I hope y'all are checking out the chat because people are complimenting you and talking about your work in the chat. So if you read, please be sure to check that out and see how people are responding beautifully to your pieces. We're just a little bit ahead of schedule. So in order to kind of keep people checking in on their times and in case they're not in the room yet, because we're running a little ahead of schedule, I was going to read something real quick. And if anyone in the room wants to read, because we're doing so well on time, if you have something short that you want to read, just talk to me in the chat and we can pull you up. This is from my second book. It's called Sound and Basin, and from Lavender Ink. Bill Lavender's in the room. Bill, you should read something. I texted you, but I know you're not reading my text. This is called The Little Room, after Walter Anderson. If every corner holds 1,000 lifetimes, and in this one, my hand lay like an anchor. If ever there were stars I saw were stars before I knew them, and what we called all names, and then you think of beauty. But I've a little mind to keep on looking, as if hard enough, and then I found it. And I've an ache that fits inside a smaller space, so you can see how those 3 colors would infect me. It's almost the shape of a door I'll never get through, a light so real you'll feel it turning. And then I see like you before me, and even our hands are not resembling one another's. So how can I know anything by touch? I find a way my eyes do focus, and if it's clear here, I'll hide it in my mind. They'll say you called, we knew that they were stars before we saw them. The light that spilled around the door where you have buttoned down your skin. We walk in and back into a room to keep on looking, a little door with you behind there who would answer. And if we knew the word to speak, a language that could reach you, we break in. The left window pane of plastic carries around my face from where I'm stealing. Have found that walls come to each other and then another. Until surrounded, I try the door, let light escape in. That's when I realize, and then I follow before I knew you. They say that stars are stars before we see them, and not by the time their light has reached us. I watch the life I thief like a hand that holds me, and caught we dance dead stars a day for dreaming. My mind says yes, and goes without me. All right. Thank you, thank you. Let me see what the chatty says. Okay. Thank y'all for being patient with me while I literally learn Zoom in front of you. All right, so Margot Toombs is in the room. It's a little before your time, but if you're ready to go ahead, Margot, we are ready to listen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me read.
Wonderful.
Okay. When I was 10, I wanted to be a beatnik. Beat, beatnik. Drinking Joe, reading words, saying I'm beat. Well, here I am, and this is my life. Wet, lather, rinse, repeat. Wet, lather, rinse, repeat. Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, 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 wine, wine, wine. Repeat. Date, love, sex, marriage, divorce. Repeat. Land, cry, eat, sleep, talk, walk, fall, learn, 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 forget, forget, forget. Leave. Repeat. Birth, life, death. Repeat. The next one is a haiku, so I will read it twice. His voice is muted, murdered by caller ID. No more obscene calls. His voice is muted, murdered by caller ID. No more obscene calls. The next one is called Beat Heart, and it was inspired by my new pacemaker. What happens when the drum is scarred and fragile and tired of jazz percussion? Young hearts filled with milagro charms pound with love and passion. Like the Virgin of the Guadalupe, flames flare from chest chalices, but old smoke rises from cardiac cauldrons, sparked from machines and chest muscle blankets, 60 beats per minute, ready to shock the zombie heart. And the wires push the magic out. Love lingers in the patina and thrives in hearts of steel. And the last one is, what is the virus really? I just rewatched Men in Black, #1. You know, the original with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. The movie gods call it a science fiction action comedy film. Or is it a cautionary tale? Let's explore. Interplanetary refugees live on Earth. All wear human disguises. Tiny and tall, large and small, they all fit in. When the camera zooms in on a pendant on a cat's neck, we see a galaxy, a full galaxy with stars and planets and moons. Spoiler alert. At the end of the movie, the camera pans out until we see the Earth within a galaxy, within a universe, within a universe, within a universe, within a marble, used as sports by monsters. In this world of giants, we are microbes. Now reverse our symbiotic spaceship, travel back to our home. All of this celestial traveling makes me wonder, are we the Earth's viruses, consuming and destroying our host? Are the bacteria and viruses in our bodies part of microscopic universes? In space wars, what takes priority? The largest, the strongest, the cleverest? In our battle with the virus, are we Goliath to its David? Will we crush it with brute force? Will it break us with slingshots and stones and ignorance? Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so fun. I love that first one. I love when you spelled out the DIVORCE. I got one of those too. It's a good time. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Look at us. We're like an hour and a half into a 4-hour online poetry reading that I've never hosted something like this before in this strange new world that we're all in. Thank you for being patient with me and doing this collaborative experiment together, as I like to call it. I think I'm going to call to the stage real quick because he's in the room. My co-director, Bill Lavender. I have to say that one of the joys of my life has been the fact that I get to co-direct this poetry festival with someone who's my best friend and who I get along really well and who basically like saves my life like over and over again, but especially during the pandemic by making Poetry Fest still happen. So Bill Lavender, if you are ready, you want to share a little something with us? There you are.
There, am I unmuted? Yeah.
You are unmuted.
Okay. Well, here's
Wait, are you in where are you?
in Mississippi.
That's if you're not even in New Orleans during the New Orleans Poetry Fest.
And I'm kind of stuck
There's
right
Nance.
here. She's back there. Right here.
Bacon brownies.
Yes. What? I'm coming. Hold on.
Come here, Sully. Come here. And Celeste is here. Granddaughter 1, granddaughter 2 over there, Roxy.
Poet family.
Okay. They've never seen me read before, so oh, they have to. Okay. Anyway, so this is a little piece. It's kind of long. If it runs more than 5 minutes, I'm just going to stop.
I need you to read for at least 5 minutes because we're a little ahead of time.
Okay. All right. So this one is about kind of going through the pandemic business and coming out the other side. It's called The Community. So we finally decided it best just to meet at my house. We could distance by the pool and save all the worry about a public place like a coffee shop text from the front porch. I'm here futzing around, mask half on, half up. How do we do this? Should I say, yeah, I guess. You put it on and we go back to the kitchen to the back and I sit in the edge, dangle my feet. And she walks down the slope and it's cold, she says, though I assure her it is not. And she says her temperature is all fucked up lately. Like, she got this little blow up pool and put it in the backyard just to cool off. And she would lay out in it at dusk and get downright cold. And the kids think she's nuts when she comes in saying to turn the AC up. But she doesn't know what it is, but her inner temperature is all fucked up. And I say that I just thought it was time we said something like planning for some kind of hybrid thing that could, depending on conditions at that particular moment next April, be more or less in person or more or less virtual. And she says, I know, I just have to say I feel so unconnected to it right now. It's hard to even think like about it right now. I mean, it's been really dark these past, really like days. I couldn't leave the house, and like the kids are starting to notice, as they do notice when I can't leave the house. And now I did get off social media, and that helped a lot. And I say, yeah, Facebook's a horrible, horrible thing. All those pretend friends, and worst of all, how they thread the ads through all those interactions with so-called friends, family, or whatever, and how they shape the social space with their templates, their little quick reply snippets. And she says, yeah, once I got off it, I saw it was all fake. I thought I didn't have, and it made me think all these people pretending to have relationships, but they're not, they aren't relations. I said, 10 friends. And she said, yeah, we're 10 friends. And it's just like, I don't know, my gym closed for good. It's gone for the foreseeable future. And I say, so how are you like living? And she says, unemployment, but that's not, of course, going to last. And who knows what the fuck is going to happen. I guess it's possible they'll come up with a vaccine and my job will come back. And next year we'll be having the in-person festival just like always. And we won't even remember this, but it really doesn't feel that way right now. Like shit that's going on. People are fucking unhappy. And I still write, of course, every day I write. That's just what I do. But as far as the community, that was the whole object for so long. I just feel abandoned. It's fucking dark back there. And I say, yeah, I know what you mean. I can't sleep through the night, wake up and lie awake for hours feeling like shit. So can I live with this or do I want to? And she says, oh man, you're almost done anyway. No point in quitting now. Now me, I've been thinking, can I do another 20 years of this shit? And I got so desperate, I went to see my dad. How can I have been that stupid? All he can do is rag on me for getting this worthless MFA. Why didn't you get a degree you could use? He says, but then in a moment, I'm sorry, I can't read it. That's my problem here. But then in a moment, I think this is why you go to school and study literature, so you can see shit like situational irony, because he's fucking clueless. Like right after he says how worthless my writing career is, he puts on that new Dylan album and starts saying how he just loves Dylan and could listen to it all day long. And so I just wanted to say, you realize he's a poet, right? That's what I mean. That's what poets do, right? So yeah, thanks for the fatherly advice. But anyway, it's just one thing like that after another. And so, like I say, it's hard for me to focus on something so far down the road. But I think really we don't need to be in a hurry. Like I think in 2 or 3 months, make some sort of announcement. And I say, yeah, like that we're diligently investigating alternative models, hybrid spaces, etc., so as to be ready to go no matter what the world looks like in April. And she says, yeah, I guess so. Or we could also just say nothing. Thanks.
That was how we got to 2021 Poetry Festival. I didn't know you were gonna read a poem about me.
You know what? I swear I didn't
remember that
either.
whole
I mean,
conversation.
I didn't even think about what I was going to read. I just like pulled up a screen, there it was. And so I thought, oh, this might be cool, but I didn't really remember what was in it. So,
Did you just transcribe that after we had the meeting?
all but, yeah.
Because it's so accurate. I'm glad you left out the dark parts.
I skipped those on the fly.
Oh, they're in there. Good. When it gets published, I'll be sure to check that out. Thank you. It was a rough summer. It was a rough summer.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Bill. I love you so much.
I love you, baby.
I love you too, Nancy. I saw you back there. All right, let me just check.
But you don't love my stupid dog. Won't shut up.
I love that dog. That dog is sweet. So I was looking for Mark Lamoureux. I don't see him in the room yet, and I know he had something right before this, so he might not jump into the room until his scheduled time, which is still a few moments in the future. I do see Los Glazier. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Los Glazier or Glazier. If you're ready to read, we can pull you up. Just let us know.
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you good to read?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm glad you reached out to
sure.
see if you could get in the open mic still.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great. It's really a blessing in these times. I mean, really, you got to adapt, but here we're adapting and triumphing, I think, because all these voices, I mean, they're like, all these voices are really, it's really great. People are still there, you know what I mean? So
yes.
I'm going to read a new poem from the mountains here. I'm in the Smoky Mountains, but I also have a new book, but I'm not reading from it, which is called Luna Lunera. I have a cover art by Federico Garcia Lorca, which wasn't easy to get. No, I met his niece, so worked out. Okay, my poem for now is from the mountain here. It's called Where Did the Forest Go? In Spanish, jubilación, distancing yourself from the melee, those crazed people who must own everything, everyone, who win at all costs. Far from this madness is jubilation. Here, new creatures, unexpected flower flows, the road an open brook, corkscrewing up and down granite and glassy black sheets of biotite gneiss, the same feldspar as in the stars of Mount Vesuvius. Here, all senses quiver, senses as alive as the wind, lichen, rocks, right at the tenuous edge of spasms of multiple, simultaneous, organic incarnations. Time for the once unattainable pursuits, eddies and swirls of churning rivers, contemplation of the present not moment. Each day a lifetime in itself. Blue Mountain Mint, Nantahala Wilderness, snarly ridges, knobs, knolls, hills, valleys, passes, rhodo crowsight swirls, and halcyon skies extending to an unfathomable horizon. One locates oneself at a distance from all other humans. Homo non sapiens, a facto, here on these acres of insulating verdant alchemy, keenly attentive to the voices of trees, rocks, wind, moss, waterways, and seats of stars. As humans, we are a disgrace to the earth. We now wander a wrecking yard of twisted metal, bleached bones, toxins, cinders, hurricane runoff, water turned to venom. In the pursuit of gold, coal, and truckloads of tree corpses, in 420 counties across 13 states spanning 205,000 square miles of mountains from southern New York to Mississippi. We cut down all the trees. The forests that came back after logging have few large trees, no chestnuts, little structural complexity, and are poor in land snails, salamanders, native wildflower communities, and species normally abundant and diverse in undisturbed forests. From what is left, we do not see what was once here. On a mountain night, on a cold mountain night, the light of a third quarter 60% moon washes the forest in luminous, radiant whispers. Night's clear stars spike still air with sharp coolness. Down the slope, I see that forest dreams too. Their silhouettes play in the shadows of the trees on the earth below, sometimes as straight and upright soldiers, or as slender swaying children of chestnut trees, or in posses of pinstripe zoot suitors strutting in the dark, or in curves, crisscrosses, and chanets, or in eruptions of luxurious palm frond formations, or in remembrance of their former ancient cove forest magnificence. They are living beings. They too have their dreams. Humans would take even these shadows from the forest, removing from Earth its dreams of 60% moonlight. In such a melee, it's difficult to imagine what a full moon would dream.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And thanks for organizing it and allowing me to participate, to appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. I love your backdrop of beautiful books everywhere.
If you can see it this way, it's like nothing but mountains, but
I love mountains of books.
yeah, one side.
Might be a poet thing. I don't know. I love mountains of books. I'm sorry, my kids lost the dog and started screaming a little bit at the end there too. I'm sorry, I had to do like a quick mute, do like a shh, mom voice. I just wanted to thank you so much for your reading. I just wanted to make a quick few little announcements. Since we have a little bit of time, we're doing real good on time. As many of y'all know, so the New Orleans Poetry Festival is going to be all virtual this year. It's running online. We have events every day in April. And so you can go to our homepage on nolapoetry.com and it'll have the event on that front page along with the link to the Zoom. And they're also live on Facebook. All the events are recorded so you can see them after the fact if you missed anything. Yesterday, we had a great discussion on ecology and poetry. Annie Finch talked just beautifully about meter and form in a way that I haven't heard anyone talk like that in a while, and it was stunning. I took so many notes and it was really interesting. And then tomorrow we have on ordering a manuscript at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. There's going to be a roundtable discussion with Jeremy Michael Reed, Samantha Edmonds, Erin Elizabeth Smith from Operating Systems, and Sabai Syed Razvi. And they're going to talk about ordering a manuscript, trends, tips, and helpful questions. So if you are putting together a manuscript, whether it's your first or your 20th, I don't know, I have a hard time every time I put together a manuscript, no matter how many times I do it. You can tune into Zoom and watch that. Let me see who's in the room and who's up next. Let's see. I see Paris Tate, you're in the room. Are you ready to read? Because we can go ahead and go with you. It looks like I'm missing a few people that are on the list. Yeah. But Paris, if you're ready, I'd love to hear from you. And Great. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. We haven't seen anyone in forever.
This weird new world we live in.
Yes. Thank you for having me, first of all. So I have 5 minutes. Okay. I have 2 poems from my book, All the Words in Between. I'm going to read that. First one is going to be called Louisiana Creole. Sugar cane swayed lazily toward final harvest bore witness to that fumbling conception on a dirt path. Workman boots gave up before afternoon to find another taste. Dirty fingernails, pale callous palms caught the waist as she searched the chewy center of a fallen stalk with a kitchen knife. This time they swallowed each other's sweat among the breaking backs. She was just 15, cafe au lait skin and lips fuller than what he was used to. Before a cracked glass in her bedroom, she listened to what he winked between breaks. You are one sweet baby. She remembered that after the next full moon, as sharecroppers gawked at the change he hardly noticed. And the next one, I wrote this after reading a book about the upstairs lounge fire. So upstairs lounge, New Orleans. 1, at the third breaking news, each room prepared its own drowsiness. In the sag of throw pillows or the cushion that remained soundless as we unloaded heavy disasters. In one room, everyone's an overgrown Alice on the red velvet couch. Shadows recognize the reach into shallow breathing or the drawn curtains, so worked as ambient. 2, my weather turned gauzy. As you snore, muscles ruminate over TV voices that report the nightclub fire on charters. The climbing death stench still echoes from the other room. And I have one more. Where is it? Just give me a minute to find it. This one is actually from, this was recently published in Tilted House Review. So, okay. This is my mother's story that she grew up telling me. As a sensitive girl living on a farm in rural Louisiana called La Bougerie, Louisiana, 1963. As a little girl, she hated the season between October and February when uncles came to surround the pig in her father's pen. This was how La Bougerie started. She would close the closet door behind her, press her palms into her ears just as the high-pitched squeals pierced the men's exhaled air. When her ears burned and tears escaped the pressure, that's how she knew they were draining life into a bucket. Under the supervision of loud Creole tongues, nothing went to waste. Bacon for breakfast, pork chops for dinner, ham for Christmas. She grew older, couldn't believe the meat soaked inside the boiled blood, lining up for a taste of lips in the brain. Over Christmas coffee, she tells her youngest daughter every bloody detail. These days, she hates the taste of pork. Now the next generation gets it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so good to hear from you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Hopefully in person soon. All the poets in person. I'm glad you mentioned Tilted House because we also have a Tilted House reading that's going to happen online at nolapoetry.com on April 5th at 7 p.m. Tilted House, if you're not familiar, is a kind of young and upcoming publishing group in New Orleans. And during the pandemic, they were doing a lot of online publishing so that you can go online to Tilted House and find them. And they're also now putting out books and stuff. And so it's really exciting. And I think it's going to be Cameron Lovejoy, Nikki Mayu, Rodrigo Toscano, and Kelsey Wartell are going to be reading with Tilted House. Again, that's April 5th at 7 p.m. at nolapoetry.com. So you can check them out, learn all about them. And they also, I think, are always taking submissions. So if you're interested in submitting to a New Orleans press, definitely check them out. Just checking who's here. Is Mark Lamoureux in the room? And maybe you're under a different name because I'm not seeing you. And if you are here, it's your time. And I don't want to pass you up. But I'm not seeing your name. So if you are under a different name, just hit me in the chat and I'll make sure we get you on. And then Robin Harlow as well. I saw come in the room, but maybe has left. So if you're not in the room and I'm not hearing from you, I'm gonna assume I can move on. Let me see. I know Charles is in the room. Charles, you want to read for me now? Since I'm missing some people, Charles. Garrett.
Yo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you have video or you know
Here we
video?
are.
There you are. There you are. Because I was like, what? I'm not going to get to see your face. I was going to be sad.
Oh man, good to see you.
Good to see you. How's
Awesome.
Lafayette?
It's Lafayette. We're not wearing masks here. We're just doing Lafayette's thing, right? So, but I think we'll be all right. We'll be all right. How are you guys in New Orleans?
Well, they're letting all the tourists back in.
Yeah. Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Cool.
Literally.
So, yeah. So, first off, I want to thank you guys for having me. Two, thank you, Bill Lavender and Megan Burns, for what you guys are doing. We need this kind of stuff, and I'm glad it's happening. And also too, that's pretty impressive. Every day this month, you guys got something going on, so that's awesome. That's huge. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to try to soak up as much of the 5 minutes as I can.
Yeah, we're good on time, so don't feel stressed at all.
Okay,
We're so ahead of
cool.
time. It's great.
Cool. So yeah, I'll read the first one. This one's called A Word for the Earth Mother. No triggers in here. We're all good to go. This one should be pretty straightforward. And like I said, I'll just go ahead and jump on into it. This is from my collection of poetry that I've been working on it for a while, but this is from Articulate the Rise. So here we go. I dreamt in a sweet veil and Louisiana thunder and world boom in the wake of protest, blue line mixing with red. I pray to you, the mother I never had, always wanted. The night you spoke a whisper to the sky blue, passed through the eye of a giant named Earth. You watch us make mud out of blood and water, waste oil for blessings and double-edged tongues guilty of spitfire. We are the black oil, willed to no one none fights over. We are the emaciated, weeds left to be trampled, words of degradation, worlds away from true vines. We are the forgotten means, waning frameworks of fright, wandering children in lost lands, wasteland warriors, or wilting black conjurers. We have forgotten what it means to have a mother, to live within her means to our survival, rooted in the soot of burning. That instant refined minerals can become water. A dream I dreamt, drifting off quiet as a monarch, night dancing, flame, ink on the midnight. That's a word for the Earth Mother. The next little ditty will be Day Drunk on love mantras.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
So I'll give this a second. Here we go. Computers. All right. During fall, the leaves make beautiful exits. Nature and wind, clarinet, a color change to brown, dead muckness to the ears of some autumn rush of the human race. From the tunnel frame of my bedroom veranda, storm strolls in from the north. Sunshine workers pulse about, a collective understanding to stray from the rain. Beauty as beautiful as brandy mocking ice in a rocks glass. It's time for another. It's during these pauses between the frame that I always seem to find you, the mother of my children, between sand and pondstone.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Yeah, we got a black screen.
Uh-oh. We may have lost Charles. No. Charles, if you want to come back into the room, we can redo that poem for you. Because it looks like we lost your audio and video.
Wow. I'm frozen. I have no audio, no video right now.
I can hear you now. I can't see you, but if you want to leave the room and try to come back, maybe it'll reconnect.
I'm here. I hear you now.
Oh, you can see and hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you. I don't know what happened.
Okay, you want to just do it audio?
Yeah. Let me give it a second.
Okay. Why don't you start over too?
All right.
Because we lost you about halfway through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see.
That day drunk poem is day drunk, yo. It's a performance piece. Did we lose his audio again?
Looks that way, yeah.
Oh no. Give Charles a second, see if we can get his audio back up.
Nabbit.
Is this a performance piece about being day drunk? He's not even hearing my jokes. I got jokes and Charles is not even listening.
I can't.
He
I
can't
got
even
nothing.
hear my jokes.
Last time I did a reading not too long ago, and for whatever reason, when I read that particular poem about my kid's mother, my computer just freaks out, and I don't know, it's very weird, but
Now we're getting the deets. We're getting the dark secrets behind this poem.
it's crazy. There's definitely a curse behind this poem, and I don't know. I try to release it, and it just doesn't want to go.
Let's try one more time.
All right.
I got you now. This is a strong curse, yeah. I think you're gonna have to pick a different poem to perform. This is a poem that does not want to be read. I love that Charles confirmed to us that this is not the first time this has happened. So it's not on us. This is totally the poem.
Oh, yeah.
Charles, maybe log out and log back in.
This is exactly like a real open mic now. We're 2 hours in and like chaos ensues. I don't know what's happening anymore.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. All right.
No. It looks like it connects and then it breaks off.
Charles, if you can hear me, I'd log out and log back in.
Yeah, that might be the best bet. There he goes. So Charles is coming back into the room. Let's see if that helped getting him back in the room to get his audio up. Do you see him under a different name now, Jonathan?
I see Charles Garrett. I just hit S to unmute.
Okay.
Hey.
There you are.
All right, I'm just gonna skip that poem because it's not a good one. It just freaks me out. It always messes up I'm serious. It's like clockwork. I start reading it and I get into it, and then the computer says, no, not today. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna read this last one and get this out of the way. This is how it was the 90s. At an early age, I knew freedom was not that much different from hell, only a bit cooler. Inside books, Read aloud from white hands across black skies, ancestral stars of symphonic scarred lightness reopen with every stammer over black or Negro. Scream striped in white font on the face of a 9-year-old kid who couldn't understand why no one was melting at the seams. Pinless grenades held between the teeth of societal plain sameness. Anger often the accomplice of youth. We had to carry our own bones in someone else's way. You ain't like us, so I kept my hands tied. You were so articulate. I like the way you talked. Louisiana hands wrapped inside a caged dog, scarred from learning of burning crosses that underneath every white glove are rope burns from hoisting the weight of 40 acres and a mule. Blood is soaked into the roots of oak used for crosses in Louisiana streets. White folks spent a century sewing stories of a happy slave in our skin's memories, but you can't sweep blood under the rug. Ancestry laid to rest with pain that will last long after we get the history right. Our very own American dream. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for making it happen, even with technology. Always
Telling you,
working
it's that
against
poem,
us.
man. That poem is
I know. I love that the story is like it's not the technology; it's actually the poem. That poem does not want to be read. Great. All right, we are 2 hours into our 4-hour online open mic reading, so we're about halfway there. We're doing great on time. Just again, give a little shout out to New Orleans Poetry Festival. If you just joined us, all month long, the month of April, we have events, roundtables, poetry readings, workshops, performances. We have a dance party happening on the 24th. I mean, anything poetry related, we're doing it online and virtually every day in April. You can access all of these events for free and online via Zoom, as well as our Facebook Live page. You just need to go to nolapoetry.com. On that homepage, every day you will find whatever's coming up for that day, along with the direct links into the Zoom rooms or to the Facebook Live page, however you would like to view and participate in these programs. Thank you to the Jazz and Heritage Festival, as well as Academy of American Poets, who gave us some grants to allow us to present all of these events free this year to our participants. I'm seeing some like numbers instead of names in the participant list. So I just want to call out and give people an opportunity to check in case your name is not under your Zoom name and I don't know who you are. But Mark Lamoureux, if you're in the room, just go ahead and go into chat for me and just let me know you're here, as well as Robin Harlow. If you've joined us and your name is not your name on your Zoom, just let me know that you're here so that I can call you up. Let's see who else is in the room. Oh, Jeff, you want to read? I'm gonna just mangle your name, Jeff Grinison. I feel like every year I kind of try to say it and I don't do it well.
Greeneisen.
Greeneisen. I've introduced you before, so I know I've asked you to pronounce it for me, and then I'm from New Orleans. I can't pronounce anything.
Nobody pronounces it right.
It's asking too much.
Students don't
It's good
spell
to
it right.
see you.
Good. Yeah, good to see you guys. I
I
really
haven't
miss
seen you
being
in
there.
a bit.
That opening thing, it made me really miss being there. I was looking at the
No,
stage.
man, they killed it. They killed it. Those New Orleans poets.
Oh man, that was great. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
so as I was saying to Bill, I didn't really commit to this because we had our second vax yesterday. So
How you feel?
Okay, a little tired. My arm
Okay.
is sore. They drew blood on the the guy who gave me the shot. He was like, "Whoop."
Okay.
But
I don't
so,
know if I
yeah.
like that, but okay.
So but Courtney's not doing so bad. She's
They didn't warm your vaccine up in a spoon, did they?
No.
Okay. I'm just checking. Every state's different.
All right, yeah, but I'm happy to read a couple.
Yes, please.
I appreciate. So they're short, so I won't take too much time away, but just to sort of share something. This one's called Cradle. The emptiness hovers over us like the souls of twin babies rising somewhere to a purgatory where their uncles wait. We try to empty sorrow from our eyes, lean into one another before she even puts on her pants, one leg at a time. The room was sterile beautiful. I sat in the corner chair, the stenographer talking in clips. the doctor, a blue ghost, materializes to ease sharp news onto us like a pillow, the words inflating like red balloons, a thin surface over emptiness. And when the dilation is complete and the suction and scraping done, we're left again at home, just us, holding each other tight to squeeze out the emptiness. And the second one that I'll read is called, I live really close to a bridge that is the 6th most popular bridge in the nation for suicide jumpers, the Sunshine Skyway between St. Pete and Tampa. And I found out a few years ago that one of my former students had committed suicide by jumping. So it just sort of inspired a poem called Jumper. They found not a ripple in the water where she'd plunged 430 feet, but her car consumed in flames on that bridge that the happy call Sunshine Skyway. The 12-hour search for the body ended. The remains turned over to the medical examiner, something lost like a dropped penny. James Dickey romanticized a stewardess's fall from an airplane, immortalized her in verse as if she'd somehow found salvation in that plummeting. I do not know if Meg found solace, but fell at 32 feet per second each second after she'd stopped her car at the height of that span with such a beautiful name, after setting the plan to make some statement that no one knows. Maybe it was an impromptu drive over the bridge, a sunny 11 a.m. commute, matches and a quart of lighter fluid or gallon of gasoline conveniently on the passenger seat. Her last act, a performance piece, car engulfed in flames. We might know if we could answer, did she jump nervously feet first or dive? Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good. Good to do this. I'm glad I'm able to, and I'm not shivering and sipping broth.
Yeah, I hope you continue to feel well in
So
your
far, so good.
vaccination experience.
Yeah. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Megan, I just heard from Elijah Pringle III, who would like to read.
Yeah, I think we're good on time. I know I just saw Richard come in the room, but he's up in a little bit. So Elijah, if you'd like to go ahead and read, we are ready.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Great event. Yeah, I kept getting kicked off, and I think I've reconnected about 5 times, so it's most of my connections here.
Oh,
I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, home of Xfinity, the monopoly. Sorry if I said that, but anyway, if I could, I would like to share just a few short poems. I've been experimenting a lot with form, and I would like to probably end with a form that was created by, I think, Louisiana native, Jericho Brown.
Yes.
Complex. So I like to share my first poem. It's called HG or AgNO3, which is basically mercury or nitric or silver nitrate, which basically was used for the backing of mirrors. So I'll just read those really quickly. Into an antique mirror, silvered with mercury, I look. I lick my wounds. They taste of metallic blood, like when my tongue danced against the blade. The flavor of the knife is my blood. It is an iron. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. I had to mute for a second and go yell at my kids.
Okay,
It's Xfinity getting rid of
sorry
it.
about that. I was having trouble unmuting. Okay, sorry about that. Mercury or silver nitrate. Okay. Into an antique mirror, silvered with mercury, I look. I lick my wounds. They taste metallic blood, like when my tongue danced against the blade. The flavor of the knife is my blood. It is iron, rusting my teeth. I leer. I lap up my likeness with distorted vision. The mirror releases toxins from the mercury staring back. The glass does not protect. It cuts through my insecurity and my ego hemorrhages. It is safer to gaze with silver nitrate backing. I see I have new bruises. They've been smashed against an anvil and a hammer. My melancholy is forged by the constant strikes of my tongue against my fading smile. I sneer. I know this filming is the black of silver, the soot manufactured by the parting of silver sacrificed to the fire to liberate gold. I scrutinize for a motivation that ignites and liberates. The next poem I'd like to share is called Preserves. I wolf down jam, fig and blackberry, sticky sweetness. It's an addiction. It glues my fingers, like when I stick them back into the jar. I pry my fingers apart. I do not need a spoon. I want to feel the fruit. My fingertip needs to feel more than the hankering of you when we spoon. I fancy you were preserves. I wish I could nibble you, salty, not sweet, but instead I swallow the seeds of figs, savor the juice that gels. Do blackberries have seeds or do they have pits? I discover a stale cracker in the fridge. I went to scrape the jar, scrape as clean as Mom would scrape her cake bowl. I went to scrape away your existence. I pitched the empty jar. It will be recycled. It will live again. I lick my fingers clean. And the last two, if you don't mind indulging me, are the duplexes that were created by Jericho Brown. The first one is once again about me, and the other one is about the incident that happened recently on March 16th. The first one is people leave when they get well. When will I get well? I feel a void within me with the broken pieces of others. A young 1950 housewife, I look for reason to rescue. To please me, be perpetually in distress so I can rescue. Like my second lover, I went from partner to caregiver, but I suffered from an undiagnosed psychosis, addictive giver. I search for those suffering to feed my addiction. My last two suffered from so many addiction. I had so much promise in his pain to heal him. Jesus healed the blind and the lepers, but I am not him. I often repeat, will Jesus love me in spite of being gay? I often repeat, will Jesus love me in spite of being gay? People become spiteful when they know what you do. Now my voices scream like a junkie at me. Yes, you do. I feel a void within me with the broken pieces of others. And the last one is a tribute to the ladies that we lost. It was Tuesday, 16th of March, 2021. To sip slowly and let it seep into you. That's the very finest way to drink tea. At an Asian restaurant, you'll get tea. Prepared by those who are invisible. Poor Asian mothers are invisible. They're not valuable, yet they make a life. That is what they cart because they gave life. They're a tea cart that rattles about to serve. Even the ones with wives who do not serve. They do so because of their children. They do so because of their children as they feed and clothe and heal them. Give remedy and with broken tongues tell them to sip slowly and let it seep into you. Thank you.
That was beautiful. So good. Thank you so much I love seeing people use that new form. That's always interesting, tackling new forms. Be patient with me. Let me check who's in the room and who we have up next. Again, I just want to say I know Mark Lamoureux and Robin Harlow. I do have y'all on the schedule. So if you do check in and you're not under your name, please just in the chat let me know if you're under a different name so I can find you. I will call you up. Don't want to skip anybody. We're running a little bit ahead of schedule, so I just want to call on people and make sure that they're ready to go. I did, Shira, would you like to read? Are you ready to read or?
Sure, I will read.
I'd love to see your face. Look at you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Same here. You look great.
Thank you.
Sure, is it there?
I'm sorry?
How warm is it where you are?
It was actually cold the last couple of days. It got down in the 40s. We had a weird cold front come through, but today's gorgeous, beautiful. So yeah, and I think tomorrow it's like back in the 70s. So
well,
we're on our way to a hot summer.
Making believe that I'm where you are.
I wish you were where I was. I wish we were all here together.
Yes, well, it'll happen soon enough. Okay, so I'm going to read some new poems that were recently published. So this one is called Why Part 2. When anxiety becomes circumference, you are a hangnail in need of soaking. Waking is hard, too much waiting, wasting wings waving, iridescent clouds, reflecting opalescent in midnight pools. To stir or not to stir, the measure of a half moon, a profile of speech, light and sense, marauding to the tune of chance. Dot, dot, dot. But instead of being a woodpecker, I'll rubber band the wind rush to hold like a bouquet. Okay, and this one is titled Dissolve. Ferns and angels bathed in skin color breath, munch a bunch of mothballs, disintegrating into a pile of steam and orphans' moons. Signals lost in someone's future tense. Antlered with machismo and cinematic eyes, a purse-shaped animal descends, yellow feet like highlighters, grazing the misty waste.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Do we have time for, okay, so
yes.
Okay, so two more. Okay, this one is titled Into Everything Animal. In summer, a cock-a-doodle-doo rises in a snowflake chilled by you. A roadmap with an eye like magnetic sun tumbles out of our compartments, selves weaving to avoid weeping into our sleeves, thumbs crossed. Hush, my friends, scramble, a caesura from blankness, laced, trembling filigree, and what glittering grains of gold light enmeshed and spaced far apart, sundown and sunset. The line of sherbet against blue pudding sky we get to see sometimes before dark slips into everything animal, guttering out into rainwater, slanted doodles, dear abstraction, summer clocks, your seed by its cockle, magnetic caesuras. Okay, and the last one that I'm going to read is the war in which everyone I ask for license and I'm given a wish. A ladybug zigzagged on the window screen as if its boxes were pebbles on a lake, shining. I watched their shell and head move along with dainty legs the same color as wire, seemingly reaching into the natural world, perhaps confused, wandering upward for an out. I let them live. Not so the uglier scythe-like bug on the windowsill. Afraid an army was growing, I had to nip it before it spread. We live in an age of steam, primitive vapor, the shade of spider web. Tree branches do their job every day, holding up their display of leaves. It's a service job for the civic tree. Trees everywhere swaying, leaves like hearts nestling for cover, wherever they are. A tick for a talk, talk, tick. Thank you.
Thank you. It's so good to hear from you and good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see
Yeah.
you. Hi,
I hope
everyone.
to see you in person next year.
That would be terrific.
Great. I love that. I hope that y'all are also checking out the chat, especially if you read, because people are communicating and talking about your work in the chat while you're reading. So I hope you take a second to see how people are enjoying your work, and feel free to participate in the chat as well and let the poets know. It's kind of in lieu of clapping and responding in the ways that we normally would in an audience situation. It's nice for the poets to get some feedback or just, yeah, I love that or whatever, via the chat and so forth, which I see a lot of y'all doing. I really appreciate that. That's great. We're still running really good on time. We're a little bit ahead and I don't want to rush anybody, but if you are ready, Richard Lucian, if you're ready, I will call you to the stage and you can kind of let me know if you're ready to read. Perhaps.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you ready? I don't want to rush you.
Okay, yeah. Hi, Shira.
We're all here together.
Hi,
It's so strange and interesting.
I get interesting is, I don't know if you can hear, there's a 5-year-old panda bear lizard in the other room, and he's loud. But anyway, I'm Richard. I was going to read a couple things from this book, which came out the other year, and then a couple other things from something else. This one's called "In the Woods, We Built Monuments to Our Different Selves." What is a sound really? What is our body, and how are we also a place? Instead of the river, I found this gun. I was looking for the beautiful name of something and only found a circle of burning tires. It was a flag something. It was a somehow statue to a place and time that was our always body also. It was one idea of nation building. Other ideas happened sometimes, and then they unhappened themselves slightly. It goes like that, mostly in the woods. There is where the bodies are. There and there and there is the where we are. I had regular coffee instead of decaf coffee, so I'm all vibrating. This one's called Dread Reckoning. To stand beneath this tree is your penance. Understand that for you, the opposite smile can never be unmade, which is your penance also. Dust is your penance, and water will scrape your tongue. Your penance is shabby. To be dirt, to be blood without time. You will always hold dissonance, and it will always be weird. When you write your name, some feature of your only face will be erased as penance. Someone will fuck up your framework somehow, constantly. This will be known to you a sort of grace. Your penance will be grace. It is grace. Your penance is grace.
I love that one.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna go over this thing from the other manuscript that I'll send out eventually, maybe. Which one? We'll do this one. We'll do this one. Yeah.
It happens. It's called life.
Want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
This is Levon.
Hi.
Can you give me a few
This is
minutes?
your poetry family.
Call you later. Close the door.
We're all real people, it
Yeah.
turns out.
I mean, I know, and we live in places. This one is called what I just renamed it like 10 minutes ago for some reason, because I didn't like it when I opened it up, the document up. So now it's called These Lakes Are Good Lakes. And I don't know why. Probably these lamps are miscast stars. A sparrow occurs, or just the frame of hawk. What was one time water can be again, maybe. The sky was there and also there, but neither one we remembered. We remembered there instead a slightly mangled sound of bells. We wrung ourselves out twice and twice and twice. What shook was the line that imagined itself after itself. Really, our map was just a tangled nest of roads named mostly dirt. It was never meant to be helpful. It was never meant to lead, but to a middle us, which we unmade for ourselves from a continent of ache. And then this one is called In Our Pockets We Carry the Same Stones. Wait, that's not what it's called. It's called In Our Different Pockets We Carry the Same Stones. Because I have a lot of pockets and bells in my pockets. I mean, bells and rocks in my pockets. A river is somewhere, and you are somewhere, and I am a place not there, making the U shape by a scatter of trees. Weather happens to us differently, but the point is, it happens. On the ground where I wasn't, I drew a circle around a rock, which included another rock. You said this rock, not those. It's soothing and thumps like a smoky heart. You said, if only I could brush your hair, and I dangled your neck with crystals. I wrapped a piece of planet 10,000 times with copper wire, and then I did it again. One I set between your eyes, and one you placed inside the rose tattooed across my heart. Now we have a magic radio, I said. You said, no, dear, now we are a radio broadcasting magic over every frequency. If what we're doing seems difficult, it's because we're building something important. I said, probably our hands are too tender to ache, but our arms will be so strong from carrying breaths across the map. You fingered the path our legs would take around each other and said, sometimes, my love, it's easy to forget that all this distance between us is mostly just dirt. I don't know what time it is.
It's 2:21 in here in New Orleans.
I mean,
I don't know what time it is for you.
It's 8. It's B12. Is that a battery?
That
No,
last
that's a
one was
vitamin, right?
That last one was beautiful. I really like that one. It's really good.
I don't know how. I don't know. Should I have? Is it more?
You want to do one
less?
more? Do one more.
Sure. Okay, I'll go back over to the book, which was from the operating system, and we'll do. I don't know. How about here it is. Where is it? Sorry, I can't see anything. This one's called Make or Break Star City, because I used to live in Roanoke, Virginia. And I think this one has 2 beards in it. I used to live with my friend, and like one day, we both decided to shave our beards off at the same time. I mean, the same day, but I was the second one, and I looked in the bathroom, and there was already a beard in the trash can. So that's what I meant by that joke. Remember that season we gathered without shadow, got rowdy and filled the creek with cuss. There were 2 beards in the trash, and nothing was new. It was night, and that one star was the only same again thing. Or maybe just the only thing worth carving to what mountain. You were sleeping that one time I sneaked down 3 stairs to unsense the sound of meaning. I meant meaning writ large, as if words themselves were mere as bells to decorate the fugateness of time. That was so many administrations ago. God, it was. The only pundit left we can trust is the river. Every other channel scrabbled static. A non-breeze blew through passably brown branches. If I had wanted to wake you, I didn't know it. Going back to that one line about sleeping and referring back to that sense of sneaking through a dusk-drawn house in search of some shape to wrap my lazy mouth around, in hard wants of some sound to know, by which I mean, of course I miss you, buddy. Anyway, thanks for doing
Thank you.
this.
Can we see the cover of your book?
Oh
Can you
yeah.
hold it up?
Yeah, I had to borrow a copy from my daughter because I don't have any. It's pink.
And you said it was operating system, right?
Yeah, it's got a really long title.
I love them. I love them. I have a little list of all the books. If you feel like you want to in the chat, put any books that you read from or any chat books or anything that you want to share with our whole audience, that'd be helpful because I've written down a couple of things that I want to find after hearing people read. So if you want to jump in the chat and share any of your chat books, I've seen a couple of people have done that already, but please feel free to do so because as poets, I know we love to have in our little hot hands the things that we enjoy hearing. Thank you so much, Richard. It's good to see you. I love your work. All right, let's see who's on deck. Who's on deck? I'm just gonna call out just so everyone can attest to the fact that I didn't skip anybody because I continuously am calling out people that who have not shown up. But if Mark Lamoureux or Robin Harlow are in the room and you're not under your name, just hit me in the chat. Let me know. I will pull you up on the stage. I'm not skipping anybody. But I do want to call up our illustrious webmaster and kind of now Zoom master, Jonathan Pinton, who is literally helping all of us make the New Orleans Poetry Fest happen by teaching us all Zoom, especially how to control Zoom rooms and keep out trolls and not have some of the horrible things happen that I've heard happen in Zoom meetings. Jonathan, if you're ready to roll, we're ready to have you.
Thank you, Megan. So I've been working on a project that's taking far longer than it should to write poems about these sculptures in the New Orleans Sculpture Garden, ekphrastic poems about the New Orleans Sculpture Garden. And I am trying to get one publishable piece out of each sculpture, and that will presumably take me years and years and years. So first, I'm going to read about Traveling Light, which was sculpted by Alison Sarr in 1999. My Black wife and I went to a gallery opening. The exhibit was a mix of painted photographs and mixed media sculptures on the subject of the lynching of Black Southerners. The artist was a white man, and he was attempting to explain his work to two other white men, as well as educate them on the source material and events. The two observers were agitated and aroused, thrilled to be there opening night for such an important exhibit. They said that the subject was painfully heavy, but they found it cathartic as well. My wife did not sleep that night. This sculpture is a man hanging from a rope. He is upside down. He is hanging from his feet. His head is hollow. His head is a bell. The clapper had to be removed from his skull so that people would stop ringing it. That is what I know. Okay, this is based on Sitting Figures 2 by Lynn Chadwick. It was sculpted in bronze from 1979 to 1980. I have been faceless now for 10,000 years. It is neither punishment nor reward. Look at me. I promise I can look back. Everything works within me as well as inside you. I have lost something you need, but I remain content. Have you seen my arms, my legs, my breasts? They're a little unusual, I grant you. I am not afraid to be proud of them.
So good.
Thank you. This is from Heroic Man by Gaston Lachey. and I don't have a date on that sculpture, and that's okay. Heroic man. My skull is very small. Everyone notices. People describe me as having a wisdom of the body. In some mouths, that means I'm beautiful. In all mouths, that means I'm a fool. Now I am scarred, covering one arm, both shoulder blades, down one scapula. Now the wisdom of my body is keloid. My skull no longer houses the windows to my soul. All right, I'll do one more. This is Pablo Cascal's obelisk by Armand, sculpted in 1983. Movies bleed into memory. I can scarcely see what's in front of me for flashes of a woman's just dead blood painting a faultless violin. But there's nothing flawless here. This is the tower of broken parts never intended for repair. Acid wasn't very good by the time I was taking it. I witnessed a lot of fights, initiated a few more. Now I see overlays. I dream or hallucinate, if you really prefer the term, on top of whatever I'm experiencing, stacks of reality mildly distracting me from yours. Now I am more than whole. If you peel away the red paint, if you peel away the just dead woman, if you peel away the broken violins, you'll find a copper structure, endlessly hammered, of no use to anyone, yet fated to last 1,000 of your years. Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful. How many have you done for the sculptures?
I've done a lot of bad ones, so I mean, dozens, but maybe
We just heard all the
almost
good
20
ones, I
that are
guess.
good. Right, yeah.
They were really good though.
Thank you.
I find that with any project that's like that, where you designate, like, I'm going to do a number of things, that's always the case. If you're trying to keep on some kind of schedule, it's like you're
Right.
gonna have the ones where you knock it out of the park, and then you inevitably have those ones where you're like, yikes. What? When I did the 30-day of Little Wayne poems, I definitely was like,
yeah, I remember that.
there's no way I wrote 30 good poems about Little Wayne.
Right.
No. but I did the project, and that's what counts.
All right.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, there's that sculpture in there that everyone else says is a bell and looks like a butt plug to me. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that one. You know, Acme.
I feel like you got this. I feel like
Okay.
you got this.
All right. I got that
I'm
one.
not worried. I can't wait to hear.
That one's going to be all right.
I feel like it will be. You got to go anywhere but there. But there you go. This is when I'm really glad that this is recorded for all time. I love it. All right, let me check and see who's in the room. We're doing really good on time, y'all. We are 2.5 hours into our 4-hour online virtual poetry reading. As you know, all month we are online at nolapoetry.com. You can access from our home site page all of the Zoom rooms. We have events all day in April. They're all free, so please share those and join us and do all of the things. We're excited to be able to offer that programming free this year because of our grants that were given to us by the Jazz and Heritage Festival, as well as Academy of American Poets. And thank you to all our board members, including Jonathan Penn, who's one of who's our webmaster and Zoom master person, but our entire board, and Bill Lavender, for making this happen, this online extravaganza. I keep saying, why are we doing events every day in April? And I keep like feeling like maybe that was my idea at one point. I feel like Bill left that out of his poem earlier. I may have said like, we should just do an event every day in April. I didn't even know how to use Zoom. I was like, sure, why not? Who cares? But this is fun. I'm having a good time with y'all. I feel like I'm understanding Zoom more and more as I do it for hours on end. So is Leslie Berry here? I don't see your name, Leslie. So if you are here, just check in with me. It looks like everyone at this point has a name up though, so they may not be in the room. I do see Susie. If you're ready to read, Susie, I can go ahead and unmute you and pull you up. You just let me know.
Hi.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
you are. I see you.
Hi.
You look
Thank
beautiful.
you. It's great to
Oh,
see you.
look at this beautiful necklace you have on. I love it. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, I'm Susie. And in the mail this week came this amazing Ethel.
Whoa.
Ethel. Yes. And in Ethel came home a poem published, which is the opening poem of a Still Homeless microchap. So I thought I would read it to you. Incantation. I open the veil. On my pulsing white throat is a pink, sweet breeze. The memory of all that is coconut and oval, and the thick roar of your Indian blood concealed in the calloused calm of your hand. Where there is alcohol twisting your mouth, there is a gash on my membrane. Where there is a scar on your scalp or a twist of my hair, there is the throb of Pontiac like arrows to my pelvis. Where there are dogs that flicker in the night, dark flames against the frozen lake with its thrust up boulders of ice and voluptuous luminosity, there is a sigh of skin. Protect against horrified, against my premonition that my face will be buried alive in snow-blasted white rock. Protect against invisible saliva and the number of war or distress. My finger is burnt, the glass has rung, the candle is black, you are not home, but the wind will sing for 1,000 years.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who does that journal?
Ethel.
Or where is
This
it
one
out
doesn't
of?
have a front.
It's hand bound, huh? I can kind of see it on the video.
Oh yeah, she sews it.
That's
It's like
beautiful.
amazing, you know.
Oh yeah, that's gorgeous.
Right. Yeah. So.
Are you gonna read another one?
You want me to? I can.
Yeah. That was short. You have time.
All right. So I grabbed this off the shelf. Yeah,
You
I
should tell
grabbed
them
this
how
off
you
the
make
shelf.
you should tell them how you make handmade chapbooks as well, because yours are gorgeous too.
Oh. I'm the editor of Red Mare, which is a handmade, hand block print cover, numbered limited edition poetry chapbook series. We're up to number 21, which will come out this June. I like to publish close to the solstice. The last person we published was Jillian Wysa, who sold out. And we are only available on Etsy. Red Mare Poetry, there we are.
They're beautiful.
So, I can read a prose poem for you if you like.
I love it.
Okay. All right. So I grabbed this off of just behind me. It was published in New American Writing a while ago. It's called 27 October 2009. A woman makes a birthday cake for her mother, but mom is dead. Since it is Halloween, it gets dark early. The only light is from the birthday candles, which tinkle in their burning. 78 small bells of blue and pink wax. The dutiful daughter sits with the cake, wanting to hand slices to the plastic hobgoblins, But the parents of this year's pretend pirates avoid the threat of fresh cake. Only orphans come to visit, attracted to the tiny candles that tinkle and glow without burning down. They even burn stuck sideways, echoing against the milky moon china of the plates. Eventually, the owls are curious to see who has cooked the cake, because the owl language does not have a word for bake. One elderly owl stands politely in the garden, plate held delicately above the periwinkles, fading in autumn. He has no difficulty with the icing sticking to his plumes, seems to preen clean with the manners of a previous century. The cake seems eternal, but the last piece evaporates with the dawn. The candles have left ashes, and also of the mother, there are only ashes, but far away and in different air. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for reading for us. That was great. All right, let's see where we are. Just checking. I did see Leslie Berry come in the room. Yeah, there you are. Leslie Berry, if you're ready to go, we are ready to hear you.
Hello, I'm reading from this text, which came out a few months ago. It's our translations of Pedro Granados, a Peruvian poet. And I did this with two other people, Isaac Goldenberg and Sasha Reiter, who there are 3 collections in this book, and we each did one, creating a huge anthology. The poems that I like are short and lyrical. So I have 3. That might be enough. If it's not enough, I have some other new ones, but we'll see what you think. And I can read in Spanish too if you want. But
I would love that. I would love that.
Okay, so here's one. And it's short. It's like 12 lines. So, una mano toca tus añorados cabellos, la otra permanece atónita dentro o fuera de la pecera. Todas las cosas que son los años, transparencia y beso en el horizonte, si eso puede existir. Si aquello puede, entonces también procuro ensayo. Abro mi corazón, raíz oscura de zona andina, cómo he de morir, tocar, picar sobre el ícono cierto. Abandono del todo, abandonado del todo, consolado, ciego, cierto. One hand touches your longed for hair. The other remains thunderstruck inside outside the fishbowl, everything the years are. Transparency and a kiss on the horizon. If this can exist, if that can, then I'll try too. I'll practice. I'll open my heart, dark Andean root. How can I die, touch, peck at the true icon? Completely abandoned, consoled, blind, certain. I can, this one's a little bit longer, so I'll skip Spanish and say it in English. It reads.
We're good on time if you want to do the Spanish.
Huh? You'd like to hear
We're pretty good on time. I like the Spanish.
Okay.
I think it's great to hear.
Ver al otro envejecer. Este poema es al recuerdo de mi madre. Ver al otro envejecer como un estilo, como una canción, como una película que te dio a la salida del cinema un resto de inspiración, fuerza u orgullo. No vale lo que sentirás luego, antes que el cuerpo incline la cabeza y apague el aliento y tú no acredites lo que ves, ni menos a lo que ahora te aplicas. Poner horizontal al cuerpo y juntar sus lejanas manos, y juntar sus como lejanas manos, mientras su corazón aún te mira. Entre el tiempo pasado y el futuro más remoto todavía, entre el vértigo de lo que uno no es, sino solo nuestra madre y su émbolo, y su carrusel, y el carrusel de sus brazos, para mirar entre las musarañas y el mal, entre lo mío, lo propio o el desasiego, una mano abierta, mariposa o picaflor nos revolotea y nos hace reír. Escribo, pero no te escribo, es redundante. Restauro el cordón umbilical que está partido, que está enterrado, y a eso me aboco, porque así se está dando, y porque he llegado a viejo. Mi perro muy inquieto ausculta mi cabeza, ausculta mi mirada, ausculta mis lágrimas y por fin se sosiega y mueve blandamente la cola y se esfuma como una lagartija. To see someone age, like a style, like a song, like a movie that at the exit left you remains of inspiration, strength, pride, isn't nearly what you'll feel later before the head tilts down and the breath subsides, and you don't believe what you see and even less what you're doing. Laying the body out and joining hands that seem distant while her heart still watches you. Between time past and the furthest future, hanging on, turn sick amid what we are and what our mother is, and her piston, and the carousel of her arms, to look in distraction and suffering through what is mine, all my own, or in disquiet at an open hand. A butterfly or hummingbird flutters around us and makes us laugh. I'm writing, but not to you. It's redundant. I'm repairing the umbilical cord that's broken and buried. And to this I stick, because it's how things are going, and because I've come to old age. My dog, all restless, scrutinizes my head, puts his ear to my gaze, auscultates my tears, calms down finally, moves his tail slowly, and vanishes like a lizard. And then there's one about the dog that I don't like as much, but it's about the dog, and so it's cool. Miro la herida. Miro la herida que me infligió la correa de la cual por un momento mi perro se liberó. Mi muñeca contra el césped, la correa quemando, mi cabeza hacia mi perro y un poco más allá hacia la cuna a la que se dirigía mi perro, que no muerde pero ladra feísimo, y es como si mordiera mi muñeca sin piel, casi ahora mismo que y luego de varios días cicatriza, donde justo iría la correa del reloj, una costra humana en vez de la esfera de la que mi perro me liberó. I look at the wound I got from the leash my dog escaped for a while. Wrist against grass, the burning leash, my head toward my dog, and a bit further on the bed that cradles him and that he set off for. My dog who doesn't bite but barks, terribly, as if to bite. My wrist skinless until just about now, days later, a scar forms right where the watch strap would go. A human crust in place of the dial, my dog uncuffed from me. And somebody that reviewed the book liked that poem. I hadn't read it before, and that's why I read it. And so those are three.
Beautiful. We have our closed captioning set to English. So when you were reading the Spanish, it was struggling to translate while you were reading. And it was creating quite the poem. We might have to go back and write that down, because it was really coming up with some interesting translations of your Spanish as you were saying it.
Oh,
it was really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that and for doing the Spanish for us as well. It's beautiful to hear. Really beautiful. Thank you.
Por nada. This is the book.
There it is. Can you hold it up a little higher? There you go. Oh, beautiful. I wanted to see the bottom.
It's arte poética.
Oh, beautiful. So good. All right. Let's see who else we have in the room. Again, if Mark Lamoureux, Robin Harlow, if y'all show up and you don't have your names on your Zoom, let me know. I will pull you in. I just have to be able to see who you are. Is Nora Hikari in the room, and maybe not under your name as well? If you are, hit me in the chat and let me know. Nora, if you are here. Let's see who is in the room. That might be Rodney. Would you like to read now, Rodney? Are you ready? We can go ahead and unmute Rodney A. Brown and check in.
I can read.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Imagine the space is the page. White, there. Do you hear the reading? The sound of the space? The smoke unfurling? The poem debunked? The shit laid out for you in blank, in verse, in prose, in blocks of text, or this page. What if it were painted black? How might that sound? Thanks.
Thank you. Did you want to read another, or is that all?
For sure.
Okay. We have time.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm gonna set a timer. It's the food for 2 minutes. Rosha, Rokapita Pisalam, Roshatitanam, Ribagastomastro, Rashtabastamos, Gestamastamos, Restamostamestade. Oshanda Bastavis, Oroshageshimus, Oresta Vesta Bastabrastros, Osegaristrismus, Orashtavismus, Egasterismostros, Egasterismostrum, Erastamistmostris, Trabistastimismostris, Mastris came out in Snipnium. I'm Roshgastimismos. Rotrimban stimas capstron, Estrum program dream unam Romdam ambiam stemastrum scams as if reading a prayer. Rosh stops snaps voodoo. O babaganda should stop. It's the master stash fish. And still stop stitch, as that stem. I'm the ego Daniel. Ego rush the best. You rush the best. Umbaba, thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. That was great. I love that closed captioning translation does some wild things in the bottom of the page there. I hope y'all are watching that too. It's so good. All right, let's see where we are. If Nora Hikari came in the room and you are not under your name, please check in with me. Let me know. I can call you up. I do see a couple people that don't have names. So if you are not under your name and you are signed up, just check in with me so I can call you up and we can find you. Let's see. Blake, I know that you are in the room. Are you ready to read? I know it's a little before your time, but we're apparently missing some people.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to some people.
Okay.
Sometimes I lose poets. I don't know.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. I don't want to rush you either. I can do our little plugs as well. Thank you for joining us. If you just came in the room, we're in the last hour almost of our 4-hour online open mic. I've never hosted a 4-hour online open mic and it's going so amazingly good. I don't know. I might want to do this every year. This is super fun. All month long at nolapoetry.com. You can visit our calendar. We have events every day almost throughout the month of April. They are free. They're online via Zoom. You can access them through our links on our homepage. Every day the event will be up there and you can access it via Zoom and also on Facebook Live. All events are recorded and archived. So if you missed anything, you can check our pages in social media and find those videos as well. And whenever you are ready, Blake. Do we have audio on you?
You should. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there we are. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Megan, so much for the festival. It's really great to see people, even though we can't be in New Orleans. I don't know if Bill
Next year.
Lavender's. Yeah,
Next
thank you,
year.
Bill. Next year. Thank you all the other readers as well. Yeah, it's really nice, specifically at this time, to see a lot of people and hear your work. So this is a piece that I worked on with in a workshop with Laura Agustin Morales last summer, and it's called Sirens. Emergent sirens. The downtown Chicago bridges were raised yesterday. Protesters walled insides. We map billions since they're fired, handstands up together. Tomorrow is our next breath. Alexis Pauline Gumbs said so. Say the BLM protesters, restoked, emergent strategies to swell. Emergency warning. The phones display Lori Lightfoot's object-centered vernacular during high-power winds. Lure reader, lure listen. Enter the object. Coins for reform. Coin of property damage. Switch. Ping. Passive sentences kill. How 57th Street, our heart mind, sees street. Safe. Sees Douglas Park, safety. Is language. Active. Sentences centering trans. Gender has safety as its own agent, with agency over its parts. Emergency warning. Midst a tornado. Where? In the streets. Okay. The public. End of the mind. Oh, mine. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it. How's the sensation? It itches and tingles around my eye sockets, then loose like my eyeballs will fall out and drift down the river. Have you seen that before? A man passes by on his bicycle with Frankie Knuckles' beats booming out of his speaker. Our faces are visible, But how could a person feel safe enough to let their jaw drop down, to let their shoulders swim down? A river appears in the eye sockets, and the eyeballs slip into the water body that flows south in the Chicago River until the point where it forks. The place where its flow was switched, so our shit could go south, down the Mississippi. The sight balls move down to St. Louis, sensing Ferguson, then find themselves back up in my cognitive body, where I'm at a table with my friend Larry Biondi. I'm a PA for it. It's December 2014. Larry and I have just come back from visiting Michael Brown's memorial wall in Ferguson. We talk of the wall of flowers. We talk of Larry rolling his wheelchair around it. We talk and my teeth and ears and irises are there in the wealth of Larry's family's house. I am serving, who try to embrace me and welcome me. There is not an accomplice. I can't use heteropatriarchal transphobic plastic in my laundromat because they aren't coins, because they won't tell you how much there is. There. Rich people don't state numbers when they patronize you. Should I tell the washer? There. We'll take care of you, don't worry. There is enough money. They won't let their balls drop into the river, so the eyes of them can be immersed in the shit they and I are complacent in, the whiteness. Emergent seas. The abolition portal is the storm's eye. Let the balls drop for the moment. I can hear it. It's a tide. Cleanse them, the clenches. Restore, sight amongst. A rinse, a rent. Visions arresting. Unarrest. Rest. Thank you.
So good. So good. Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
Good to see you and everybody else.
It's great to see people's faces. Miss everybody so much. And remember to go in the chat too and see how people like to praise you and talk about your work after you read, and join in the chat as well if you're listening in the audience, and let people know that you like certain things about their poems. I love when people pull out phrases and words that like stick out to them, because I think we're mostly poets, so that's what we do. We're like, oh, I love that. I love those words. Let's see. So Mark Lamoureux, I never found you, I don't think. And Robin Harlow, I haven't seen you come in. Nora as well, I don't see yet. Let's see. Is Aura in here? I know that Aura also got a vaccine, like one of our earlier readers, but did not fare as well and was not feeling well this morning, so they may not join us. Let's see who else is in the room. I'm going to go ahead, just because we did have some people that didn't show up as well. I'm going to go ahead in the last hour and open up the reading to, if you did not sign up, but you also would like to read something, if you could just go into the chat and let me know that you have something that's about 5 minutes that you'd like to share with the group. I'll go ahead and open up the open mic list to some other readers as well. But let's see who is in here that might want to read too. I saw Liz Axelrod come in. Liz, if you are ready to read, I know it's a little before your time, but we had some people drop out, and if you're ready to go, we are happy to have you.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
I am ready to go.
We're kind of on the fly now in the last hour. Things are
I've been watching on
shaking.
Facebook. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Is it good on Facebook? Is it
Oh, yeah,
sound
it's
good?
excellent.
Great,
It's really
great.
funny because I have the two computers. I also teach at home. So I have one computer with that on and one, and there's a little slight delay, which is interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier. I was watching on Facebook the other day and on and on Zoom, and I was like, whoa. I'm in a 3D echo.
Okay, so I'm just organizing myself.
Mhm.
I'm ready to go whenever you would like me to go.
Where are you reading from?
Oh,
Where
I'm
are you
here in
at?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, in Albuquerque.
Yep.
Beautiful.
I'm
How's
actually,
Albuquerque doing?
oh, it's nice. It's really pretty out here. I got my shot last week. My husband got his shot the week before, so we're doing well. We're both professors here. We came from New York, met at the new school, etc. So
I love it.
I have a couple poems I'm going to read from my chapbook, which is called Go Ask Alice. This
Oh,
came out
beautiful.
from Finishing Line Press. My daughter did the illustration on it. And then I'm
Love
going to
it.
read a poem about New Orleans that I wrote when I was there right after Katrina. And then I'm going to read something, if we have time, from a new manuscript that I'm working on. So this first one's called Collective Decay. Nature has a formula that tells us when it's time. Everything alive will eventually die. Every living thing is a pulse. We quicken, then we fade. She goes outside for a walk and smells the scent of wood smoke. Someone must have been burning a door. Last year, the fireplace was just decorative. People are destroying everything in a desperate effort to survive. Life is short for small creatures, longer in big ones. Elephant hearts beat slowly. Hummingbird hearts beat fast. Under a cloud of austerity, real smoke clouds as well. This rule seems to govern all life. When the formula says you're done, the daisy and the maple tree obey. When the watch fob says it's time, we call it a day. And then this next short one is called Night Terrors. For endless India ink miles, the sky is nothing but kaleidoscopes long exploded. We focus our lens, forever turning. Sun-powered paths twist through fallen brush and well-raked topsoil. Swollen boulders long for sugar shots, for sweet pink budding edibles, for disappearing vapors. One bite makes you larger. One bite makes you smaller. Feed me. Buy me Google glasses. Superglue keeps our edges neat. This miracle of stars is just illusion. Okay. And then this is Rapunzel. I'm doing a manuscript called The Princess Manifesto, and I've kind of reworked a whole bunch of different fairy tales. So Rapunzel didn't enjoy spinning. The seat was too hard. Her legs kept cramping, but the witch made her practice every day. She didn't enjoy the prince's tug on her braid. It sent her into convulsions. He promised her riches and power while his hard body pushed and pulled. Those promises didn't make it hurt any less. How many times must she endure his visits before he even gets the guts to take her with him? Does he even have a kingdom? All this thinking while spinning left her raw. Plus, she needed more greens. Years went by without a sound. Then below the tower came the roar of machines. Far beyond the witch's cabin on Route 66, she heard men riding black Harleys like horses. They wore hard leather armor and were blind to the witch's enchantments. Invisible from her perch in the tower, Rapunzel felt the depths of their vibration. She decided to weave a trap and get the hell out of that tower all on her own. When the witch came back, the glow from Rapunzel's shaved head turned her inside out. Her mouth and the tower door fell. Rapunzel used that moment, pushed the old bat out the tower window. A blonde braid noose wrapped round the witch's scrawny neck. Rapunzel then went straight to the garden and ate all the Swiss chard. With a mouth full of green-stained teeth, she kept watch in the witch's cabin. She lit candles and practiced spells. She found Stevie Nicks records and danced to Rhiannon in wild, spinning circles. The witch had a decent library. Rapunzel read Kafka and Kerouac. She left a note for the prince. It's the too huge road vaulting us, and this is goodbye, sucker. Then she packed up everything of value in a big satin satchel, took the witch's grimoire to find spells and ideas for a colored sleeve, and headed out on the road to meet some bikers, take a spin on a Harley, and get tattooed. This is called The Angry Snow 7. Give us all your apples. We're going to bake some poison pies. Hand them out to those white-hooded folks stealing color from the forest. Grumpy's woke. Says we got to beat these racist hunters. Happy's whistling while he walks with Black Lives Matter, bashful and dopey by his side. Doc and Sneezy are fighting for a cure. Sleepy says he'll wake up when this quarantine is over. Snow's goal is to protect the rainbow. Her ruby lips are bloody with dissent. There's no such thing as pure snow. Her arrows take their aim. The evil stepmom falls, screaming, your kisses are deadly. And then this last one is about New Orleans.
Yay.
I'm sorry. This is called No French Quarter for Your Thoughts. The corner of Bienville and Bourbon, Friday night at 10 o'clock, an ashtray littered with cigarette butts and baubles, smoke and mirrors at every turn, partiers lit up like Christmas trees, hanging from wrought iron balconies. Still standing, they moan under the weight of hurricanes and beads tossed carelessly to the street. I got beads of every color while wandering with a stumbling mass of Halloween revelers in feather masks and painted faces. In New Orleans, everyone meets your eye. Hey, baby, have some Southern comfort with your hurricane. Show us your tits, baby. It's okay. We got your pretty beads. Red, yellow, pearl pink, blue, silver, green. Don't wear them downtown, though, sugar. The muggers love that shiny stuff you tourists carry. Let me take your picture, baby. You got to glow. You look so happy tonight. I forgot Southern comfort is liquor as I went searching for the underbelly of New Orleans. I found no such thing, or maybe I didn't notice. I visited the House of Voodoo. Could have been the House of Pancakes. I passed a few gothed out pentagram sporting kids, but they just wanted to read my tarot cards. On Toulouse, I noticed the most beautiful boy dancing outside of the Spotted Pig. He was in his own groove, man, you dig? Eyes closed, he radiated heat, tousling his long limbs and blonde head to and fro. We had a moment of blissful eye contact before he went searching for the next good tune. I walked along Jackson Square and sauntered in the alley where Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise made vampires sexy. I sent out my vibes to the immortals, come and get me. But my call went unanswered amidst the swirl of tempestuous confusion, the cacophony of drums, horns, and electric guitars blaring from the bars, and the mists filled with souls getting high on beautiful fumes.
I love it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
The great New Orleans poem.
Thank you.
I just had to plug my iPad in the middle because we've been reading for so long. Sorry if I distracted you moving around. Thank
no
you so
worries.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. This is wonderful. I wish I could be in New Orleans and reading.
No, next year. We're gonna do this again next year in real time. It's gonna be great. All right. If you were scheduled to read and I have not called you up, it was probably because your name might not be your Zoom name and I don't know who you are. So you do need to check in with the chat and just let me know who you're here. If your name is your name, I do see you. And I just want to call on some people. Is Ralph Adamo in the room?
I haven't seen him come in.
No, and I thought maybe he might be on a different name, but Ralph, if you're here, you just gotta let me know. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
Kiki in the chat said they'd like to read.
Okay, Kiki, if you're ready, we'd love to have you.
Certainly. Hi there. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I'm actually selling my poetry at an art market right now.
Yeah, we lost your video.
Yes. I'm reading from my phone, so I can't do
no
video
problem.
at the same time.
No problem.
This one is called What? And I wrote it earlier this year. Let's see, where did it go? Hang on. Almost got it. Okay, just kidding. This is called Misty Magnolia. I want you to know that home is where the plague happens, where when left alone, everything begins to fester. Someone to watch me die, someone who'll make me cry, someone to be my alibi, someone to cling to late at night. Two slow dancers, last one out. Synthetic in motion, pathetic in every other aspect. Ground has been slowly pulling us down. We see it on both of our skin. A few years until we're called back. It would be 100 times easier if we were one again. To think that we could stay the same. To think that we could stay the same. Two slow dancers, last one's out. Oh, this one is fun. A little bit of Spanish in there. It's called spoon, cuchara. Mi cuchara grande es mi esposo y mi esposo es mi Pedrito. My favorite person is honestly myself, but it's very difficult to spoon alone. I've tried holding my torso to keep everything inside before. Did not feel good. I did not feel good. I felt alone and empty, and I felt everything all at the same time. Pero mi esposo es mi esposo y mi cuchara grande. I love being married, and I love myself just one notch more than I love my husband. And I love being in again, but it feels best to love myself first. So when my husband is away, I will be Big Spoon to our dog, and she will know that she is not alone, and our home will never feel quite so lonely again.
Super cute.
Thank you. That's all I have for today.
Thank you for joining us. Where are you at?
I'm at Disco Warehouse on Chaptulas.
Oh, you're here in New Orleans.
Yes, ma'am.
Sweet, sweet. How's it look out there?
It's pretty scarce because people are home for Easter.
Yeah.
But I've written some original poems for some people. So
Excellent.
it's a pretty good day.
Good. I'm glad I got warmer. I was done
I
with that
got
cold
a
weather the
third
last 2
eye
days.
today.
Oh, yeah, let's see it. Oh, I love it.
Isn't it great? I told her to make it sleepy because I was tired.
The sleepy third eye. I love it. Let's see. Ralph, Adamo, if you come in the room, check in with me. Let me know you're here. Is Britta in the room, possibly under a different name? Britta as well. If you come in, let me know that you're here. I don't want to skip anybody. I did see Kinning come in the room. Kinning JP Garcia, if you're ready to roll, are they still in?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, there you are.
All right. So first off, thoughts and prayers for DMX, and here we go on something else. What did the turtle say to the globe? What did the fly say to the map? The snake to the compass, the crab to the slide rule. $99 round trip to Toledo, $149 to Spokane, non-stop to Billings, next stop Ithaca. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Better lock the door. The look has no room in the mirror. Nothing is happening. No way. The books reject being both borrowed and returned. No reading is essential, and every joke has a spine of some sort to pick from. Every action has an equal and opposite memory. Such is, such are, such was, such were. This is, this is, this is, this is, this is. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 6. If the devil is in the details, then and only then, poet be like God, yet always leave room for the jinn and the Dybbuk. Fun is fucking bullshit. It is that serious. Even heaven has been put through hell. Such is, such was, such are, such were. What did the ant say to the ladder? What did the same ant say to the drill? Why did the ant have so much to say and still more questions to go? An interrogation for the road, public inquisition, brown bag of possibilities, and another bottle on the hip. This is, this is, this is, this is. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 7, 8. Better lock the gate, the evil eye, and just in case, lettuce, 2 heads for the price of 1.
fresh, crisp green beans in season, 1 pound of garlic half off, shallots on clearance, leeks at the lowest of the season, red onions for use tonight, bruised and ugly eggplants. Check the expiration date. Check today's date. The grasshopper has more of a comment than a question. The hare beat the tortoise to the punch. The frog won't let the scorpion freeload. Everybody knows who did the most work in this ecosystem and who waited until the last possible second. The corner of the hardcover has taken a beating in the sack. The backpack likes it rough. Such is, such were, such are, such was. This is the love that was the same love, that is the same love as the coral reef has for a rush, the same love a shore has for a landlocked swimming pool, the love of a fine-tooth comb for Adderall. 1, 2, 1, 2, 9, 10. Do it all over again. Such is so much, such is such less, such is as such does. This is 3, 4, there's a hurricane at the door. 5, 6, there's a plague of locusts. 7, 8, tell mom everything's going great. 9, 10, the GPS says this is a dead end. When the time has come, how will the caterpillar know? When the possum has died for one last time, how will the others mourn? When the squirrel is satisfied, will there finally be an end to the day? Will that be what there was to say, all there was to say? The space that was sent was never received. The worries won't take a day off. This world doesn't know how to treat time right, but won't never leave. The sun will gaslight the city from dawn till dusk, and the moon will kvetch about it all night with a coffee clutch of stars. 2 weeks notice, 1 month's rent up front, 0 down to drive out with this car today. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just because it's electric does not make it dance music. In fact, stop moving. Don't try to get no rest, but catch a breath. Check in on that breath. Let that breath know that it was love, even though that breath was an air sign and extrovert to boot. Thank God nothing lasts forever. 3, 4, who's at the store? 5, 6, just got some stuff to get. 7, 8, some shit just can't wait. 9, 10, but then again, this shit just got good again. If a villain's plan is foiled and nobody's there to have a hot take, did the hero really win? This cream has gone bad. The sugar is not as nice as it says it is. The sidewalk won't bore the clouds with too much tea, but girl, can't take everything personally, but it should all be processed politically. The worm has some words for whoever made this syllabus. The light submerges the garbage in the sense that comes only with having a fan. The sun stands for the trash, capes for refuse. Ain't got nothing bad to say about the K. This is, such was, such are. When the underworld negotiates with the unconscious, who is Orpheus and who is Dante? Where's Waldo in all of this? And where's the lie? And Carmen Sandiego and Swiper gonna swipe left, and Lot's wife had a name and dreams too, and Malcolm Cecil is dead, but Tonto lives on. In the end of days, only the synthesizers will remain, holding on to a note and holding out for hope, a power source, because that's all a human hand is good for anyway. Hand over the keys to the self-driving vehicles. Zola's crash is reborn in a new century. Thank you.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That was great. I love it. It's good to see you.
It's good to see
you next year in person.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Miss you. Man, this has been so much fun. It doesn't feel like we've been here for 4 hours doing a 4-hour open mic because it's like going so smooth and the poems are amazing. They're blowing my mind. All right, well, let's see who I think that Avron, they're in the room. Yes.
Hi, that's me. Can you hear
There
me?
you are. There you are. There you are.
All right, so I have to follow Kenning, which is bullshit.
I know, right?
That's
I was
great.
like, I'm glad it's not me.
So I just have 4 poems, and they're short, so just bear with me. The first one is called Truckload of Paladins. He was given a truckload of paladins. They hung around like a half-finished novel, asking for his pointed, incoherent questions. Our oldest stories are like our newest, someone said before dumping all the men on him. a needless comparison that he couldn't wend his way through. Stuck with the immortals, unable to keep up, he wished they'd go full storybook and metamorphose into a dragon or a cat or a friend he could actually confide in. This next poem is called My Queen. She rings with winter like ears after a long day, raises oranges and kumquats in her chorus of clouds. She keeps dregs of dead leaves suspended in her puddles. My queen, my psychopomp, why'd you assemble this before me? They ask while stuck between history and a dark place. She replies with her copper fingernails down their body. They're tired of the cold and carnal, and they keep repeating, my queen, my death, my hunger, my queen. Why did you assemble this before me?
Beautiful.
Next poem is called In the Bathing Machine. And I found out about these things called bathing machines. Maybe you all have heard of them before, but they're like these weird Victorian wagons that they'd wheel out into the sea a little bit. And then like you could, in your bathing suit, which is very scandalous, kind of like go into the water from this weird accordioned hut. Very strange. Anyway, this one
I've
is
never heard of that.
you gotta Google bathing machines. They're the weirdest shit I've seen. All right, so In the Bathing Machine. Of course he loved her, much in the way he loved fields and cows and hot breakfast. And he loved the chill even more. White lichen wave gnarled the men all over, maybe daunted his skin as the sea's horses broke the beach. He felt cold arms, almost dead to his touch, and she drowned in the mulled wine of it. Was he in a grove? Was he in the sea? She forgot. Spat out into the water by an accordioned hut, she frothed the darkness into his gray. They forgot. And this last poem is called After Saturn Ate His Own Kid. I mentioned Judge Doom, who was the villain in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was the one with the when you revealed his sunglasses taken off, his eyeballs were like horrifying. That's the reference here. So also Goya's painting. Okay, it's too short for all that. After Saturn ate his own kid, Judge Doom cartoon eyeballs at what he's doing, as if his body and brain are from different dimensions. I keep wanting to empathize, and there really isn't any need for me to do so. What an image to keep in your dining room when father talks to son about what he's done. That's it.
Whoa.
Thank you. Oh.
Whoa.
Thank you all.
A poet dog. That one snuck up on you, that last one. It sneaks up on you. That was great. Thank y'all so much. I saw in the chat, Megan, another Megan, and I'm glad that you spell your name correctly, as we do. Megan Brown, if you are interested in reading still and you're in here, we can bring you up.
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
Megan B. How likely is it we're gonna have two Megan B's on the same Zoom?
Yeah.
Probably very likely. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. I know I sent you a chat and then I sent a chat to everyone because I was like, I think I missed the rules, and I don't want to take up too much space and time. So I'm really grateful. I just scheduled a trip back to New Orleans, which is where I'm from, in July, and I was like, how am I going to do a Zoom poetry thing in July in New Orleans and meet people? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to do that here from the San Francisco Bay Area. So really grateful, heard some really awesome stuff. So thank you so much. I have two poems real quick. The first one is called Ever Given, which you may have heard about, named after the barge that just jammed up the Suez Canal and left. Okay, Ever Given, a giant baby. That's what the old man in Paris, paying more for coffee, will call the quarter-mile-long barge jamming up the Suez, plus world trade. The Americans will reference the league's best quarterback held back by a torn ligament. Some will think about waiting to catch the $1 million Pacific bluefin tuna. It's more like feeling starved and coming upon a cherry tree dead winter, and despite time-tested habit, expecting it to bloom. We are so used to getting our way. Tulips shipped in from Holland, blue jeans assembled in 20 different countries. After a long, hard day, we coo at an adorable baby, expressionless now. It is what we do in the moments of unreturned smile. No pointing fingers at friends, no blaming a baby, that we demonstrate who we really are. Our might is in how we sit and wait for bad weather to pass, like our pastoral ancestors way back. Thank you. And this last one is called New Citizen Contracts COVID. That she had contracted anything inside her body confused her. It is normally her builder husband who gets people to go forward willingly and under law. From Latin, contractus, contract, drawn together, tightened, her cells pairing off with the viral invader. She lists her essentials, keeps breath to herself, though no one is here. Should she wear the mask? Keep from breathing on doorknobs in, doorknobs out. No one is here now. Where had she let down her guard? Had she? There was that loud cough from a blonde woman when they both walked dogs in the park. As of Christmas, she was no longer an alien to the United States. Alien, think other, but also alien, without claim to property. While others in nursing school were learning gloves and masks, 2-yard social distancing, she has suctioned blood, syringe after syringe from a diabetic foot wound. All online for now, but she knows she's ready to care for the patient the length of his ED stay. When it's time, she'll guide the healed patient to the door. It'll be dawn, peach, stoplights on green, soft whir of street sweepers in the distance, a few urban trees, non-pollinating. Together, they'll decide the patient's next location, a windless, warm car, outdoor cafe, safe family member in his bubble, the absence of any outdoor wall. No 2 weeks alone in cold sterility, no ventilator, visit from clergy, pain of deep breath, pangs for children, worries of the end, video interface with family, regret little money to leave behind, no growing to stain for colorless 4 walls alone. No 4 walls, no alone, because when she agreed to become a citizen of this country, everyone placed hands over hearts. Please, no loneliness. All oneliness? No. Okay then, someone. Thank you very much.
So good. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, here we are in our last 30 minutes of our 4-hour online open mic. We did it. I think we did really, really good. I'm super excited. Drew Hankins, if you are ready to come up to the stage, I know we're a little early, but we're doing good on time. Everybody's been so respectful and mindful of their times. I appreciate that so much.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Can you hear me well?
I can.
Great. I'm kind of like on the opposite, I think, with most people, where I have Zoom on my phone and I'm going to read from my computer, which is behind me, instead of the other way around. But I have 2 short pieces. This first one is called Christmas Day 2014. And it was published by Rejection Letters in February. None of us like tequila, but that's what we're drinking. Mama walked in and looked around a few minutes ago, mumbled something about a brother we never had, and shuffled out. Dad raised an eyebrow and filled souvenir shot glasses. Cancun, Gulf Shores, the southernmost point in Key West. Some places we'd visited with them, some we hadn't. She's getting worse, he says. It never snows in Louisiana, but it snowed last night. I woke up early, checked the tree, put on boots and a pair of shorts, and crunched through the brittle white layer covering the ground between the pines. I carried a crack barrel 12 gauge, hoping to see anything and nothing at the same time. I saw nothing. My brothers have annexed every sofa and chair. A bottle of tequila appeared. Nobody knows where it came from. A Christmas miracle, somebody said. We drank it down and helped Mama remember her gifts. And this next one is forthcoming in a magazine called No Contact in about 2 weeks. So you guys get to hear it first. This one is called Coprolite number 2, Human Paleofeces from the Quaternary Period of the Cenozoic Era. Long title. Enshrined in a temperature-controlled museum case with a holographic placard featuring inaccurate descriptions such as coprolite specimen from a middle-aged millennial male, I'm in my mid-30s, and excavated from a site where automobiles, cell phones, and other rudimentary implements were also found, indicating it was a heavily populated region. I was locked outside my office, nobody was around, it was an emergency. As well as technically accurate but rude statements, likely an office worker, a generally low status position that allowed for very little time outside, which probably led to a severe vitamin D deficiency. And for unknown reasons, this individual consumed food and drink that directly contributed to his gastrointestinal distress, such as black coffee and leftover cheesy Fiesta potatoes reheated in a microwave, suggesting that he probably lived alone and was otherwise unlovable. Located between the exhibit of 2 skeletons locked in internal embrace, carved from the ashes of Pompeii, their fear frozen in time, originally thought to be a woman and child, but later revealed to be 2 men, and Utsi the Iceman, with his 61 indecipherable tattoos and the birch fungus he used to combat the whipworms festering in his colon, is all that's left of me. This moment, devoid of all context and yearning, where I brace, breathe, and pray for it all to end. Thanks.
Wow. That was great. I got to see the Iceman live because I was living there at the time, wherever
That's
they,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it was in Italy, I guess, somewhere in Italy. They had him in
Yeah.
a museum. I remember seeing that. That was super cool. Lifetimes ago. So Mark Coverdale is in the room. I saw a message come through. Are you on a train? What's happening, Mark? Is he still in the room?
Hiya,
Yeah, and you're on a train?
I'm on the train. Can you hear me
That's
in
what
my
I thought I
mask?
saw.
Can you hear me in my mask?
Yes, I can. And we also have the closed
Okay.
captioning on, so it should capture it.
All right, good. Sorry, yeah, something very strange happened, and I found myself on a train back to London. But there you go. Anyway, happy to be in your Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah, so crazy. But or I'll just do 2 short ones because yeah, it's all been a bit of a fuss today. But yeah, I'll start with one that's Dr. John influenced because we're in New Orleans. It's very short. It's about the plight of the coffee pickers. It's called Le Gris Gris Mud. If in your coffee there's mud, good. You can see the dead hands that made it, waving back at you. Okay, thank you. Number 1. That coming through all right?
It looks like your video paused for a second.
Okay.
You want to start over?
Maybe try shutting your video off so we can focus on your audio.
Looks like we lost his audio.
Oh, maybe he muted himself. Let's see here.
No, he's not muted. I don't see his audio on any longer.
Okay.
I must say, there you are.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we
All
have
right,
lost your video though, and Jonathan was saying, yeah,
I'll stop the video because it's probably
Yeah.
a connection. Right.
yeah, maybe just do the audio so we can hear the poem. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I'll do that again because it's very quick. Le Gris Gris Mud. If in your coffee cup there's mud, good. You can see the dead hands that made it, waving back at you. Oh, they picked you. Understood. All right, that's number 1. Let's go to This one, I hope this is all working fine. Sorry about the connection for being on the train. Okay. It's called In the Face of Flying. Oh, the sun grinds shyly where the money sings. Branding jars affordable, preserving first memories in. A certain deli of death, it's where it all begins. Meanwhile, in the bargain basement, singing Do You Ever? Think about your options, the blue band kick it, Bobby Brooks jams. Tight as a cop's corner conference, kicking empties in the bronze, singing I'm gonna. Lines of the fire escape, lines of the landlord, leave you. Toast, the pop spocular, serving laid off platter, laid on rye, bottling for peanuts, turpentining labels, tacking new versions on, Samo lining ducks, smile. Painting stuck books on the crumbling bricks of the pickling factory, asking, who cold cut the wire from the pillow to the brain, tagging Samo, 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 it's where it all begins. As the sun shines, bright shyly, where the money sings. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you have a good train ride.
Cheers. Yeah, sorry about the weirdness, but there you go. Thank you for having me. All right.
Thank you for persevering and coming, even though you had to be on a train. I love it. Poet everywhere. Poet wherever you have to. All right, we have 2 more readers on the open mic, and then we are going to call it a wrap for 4 hours of open mic time. I think that we did amazing. Toka, are you ready to read? I hope that baby's in the video.
Oh, yeah, no, she's sleeping, thankfully.
Oh no. Well, yeah, thanks for you. Anyone have a baby
Yeah, it's good for me,
screaming while
right?
you-
So this first one is about COVID and missing my friends and my favorite reading series, Dogfish. It's called Is This It? Fever dreams of lungs seizing up, Russian roulette of, is this it or the wind, it or the pollen? When lust is a hug, longing for friends, anything familiar, denying the linger of a dry cough. Is this the end or beginning? The days bleed into anniversaries, into seasons. Everyone shuffled into the program, reveals the syntax error in our synapse. Mind remains diapaused on North Villery, on the white shag carpet, where a newsboy shelters the names, plucked out and offered. Whose heart will we hear from next?
Mm,
This
felt
next,
that last line.
thank you. This next one is about choosing empathy over guns. It's called Choose Empathy. I feel the sting of ejection, burning brass barrel rolling right into my left wrist. Impacts leave unrefined dents in doorknobs and handrails. I used to miss, but now I practice. Sight picture, breath control, trigger squeeze. Say them with me now, no help is coming. We've only got ourselves and the Twitter rabble who gather and commiserate at the altar of suffer scrolling. I pray out loud. Breath control, sight picture, trigger squeeze. Wouldn't it be so much easier to practice empathy?
Mm. So good.
Let's see. This one is called I Can Be Bad Too. Held in comfort like lit cigarettes. Flick and let me fall down. Ashtray rest. Pick me up to your lips, smoke down to the filter. Don't quit me yet. I'm the poison in the filler. Let's see. This next one is just about making time for people who won't always make time for you. It's called What Do You Think Is the Message? You make time for the things you think are worth making time for. I hope that's me, but it wasn't before. And time's free till the tank is empty. speaks volumes in a single sentence. What I was worth, not a single second. You got this whole poem. What do you think is the message?
Ooh.
And
Never piss off poets.
and if I can read just one more.
Please.
This is called Confederates in Congress, and it's about the storming of the Capitol. Frustrating to watch half of a country watch hands tick while others exult and praise patriots. Who fly flags where no flag, where this flag should never even wither, much less wave. And you know that flag without ever having to mention Jim Crow or Ruby Bridges. A flag so ugly, so slimy, so soaked in everything immoral. It's a stench like gasoline, but it burns brighter in ignorance. No help is coming despite the stages and listless condemnations from hard R hatred, looking for political payoff. They fed the monster, wrote its coattails, disaster porn, popcorn, and trails, where accountability is incontinent and truth bifurcated by stations, diluted and diluted till the thieves retire, rather than retreat, never admit defeat, as calls to be bipartisan are slapped against thine cheek. There are Confederates in Congress while Americans still sleep. Torch it down, we have no crown to worship while we sleep. And that's it for me.
Thank you. It's good to see you and hear from you.
Yes, you too.
I miss Dogfish. I miss poetry readings. I miss all of it. But this was a great event. I had the best time. This was so good. We have one more reader, and then we will be able to close it out and say that we did the New Orleans Poetry Fest 2021 open mic, and it was a total success. Diane, let's see. I saw you in here. Diane Elaine Dees, you're in the room. Are you ready to go?
Yes. Thanks, Megan.
I'm so glad you could be with us. I know you had to reschedule. Did
Yes.
everything work out? Good.
Yes, and thank you very much. I'm going to read 3 poems. Shrove Tuesday, North Shore. It's Mardi Gras and the streets are empty. In late afternoon, the moon rolls slowly in the sky, floating under rippled clouds. Emerging is a silver sphere, a dove gray globe, then a ghostly, glowing white ball. This rhythmic rotation continues as the only carnival show in town, but it is enough. Walking among the pines, I see no brightly festooned floats, no fake gold and silver coins, or plastic beads flying through the air. The display in the sky is more subtle, but it stops me in my tracks. Meanwhile, there is a parade of personal failures, global crises, and the ghosts of all those lives lost to a pandemic allowed to roll through cities and towns on the wheels of ignorance, denial, and delusion. I continue my walk, wondering if, behind the mysteriously evolving moon, there is any hope for absolution.
Beautiful.
Some of you may have known, some of you listening and watching, and probably several knew of the photographer and art critic D. Eric Bookhart, who died in late 2019. I'm going to read one of the poems from a collection called The Last Time I Saw You, that is a memoir of and tribute to Eric. A limited depth of field. My long-term memory is a collage of shadows and dimly visible colored lights. Atmosphere and emotion occupy most of the space, but there is clarity in random details. We are sitting in your living room in the house near the levee, listening to saxophone music oozing out of your ancient German speakers. It is the cleanest, most resonant sound I have ever heard. We are at a dinner party at the Columns Hotel, and a rare New Orleans ice storm hits. A few brave souls drive home, but the rest of us rent a room, stay up all night, and order endless drinks from a woman we insist on calling Babette. We're in the office of the weekly newspaper exchanging gossip, or at Tipitina's chatting with James Booker, or we are at an art show where all the artists are our friends. I long to remember more details, but must be content with savoring the ones I recall, and with knowing that so many of my days were richer because you were there.
Mm.
My name is America, and I'm going to get you vaccinated. She said it without irony and asked for my name and date of birth. She then directed me to the room where I would wait for my turn to get the long-awaited needle stick in my arm. As I sat, visions of pleasant young hospital staff members throughout the country floated through my troubled mind. My name is America, and I'm going to get you infected with COVID. My name is America, and I'm going to turn my eyes when business owners and government leaders ignore rules that could save your life. My name is America, and I'm sick to death of quarantine. My name is America, and I can't even get you a COVID test. My name is America, and I'm looking out for illness in the stock market. My name is America, and I'm going to wear my mask under my nose. It took only a breath of a moment, the life-saving prick of the needle. I didn't feel anything at all. In 3 weeks, I'll return and do it again. Maybe America will guide me through the final stage of protection. Maybe America will remember me, my face half covered by a mask, but my eyes filled with grief and fear.
Mm. That was beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
love that one. Love that last one. So I love your dragonfly shirt too.
Oh, thought you
I
would,
noticed. They're my favorite. That was a great finale poem, I think. I think we just rounded it out and ended it exactly where we need to be. This is America. We are New Orleans Poetry Fest, and we bring the poets to you all month long in the month of April. Thank you to all of our readers. I had counted out that we had 34, I think, at the beginning of this, but we lost some, but then we gained some. So I think that we did round out about 30 plus readers, which is amazing for a 4-hour open mic. Everything went so smoothly. Y'all read so beautifully. Y'all spoke to each other so lovely in the chat. I really could not have asked for a more beautiful virtual 4-hour online experience. I have never done this before, and y'all made it an absolute joy. I hope you will continue to tune in for the rest of New Orleans Poetry. Thank you to my co-host, Jonathan Penton, for making sure no trolls jumped in here and tried to mess up the good vibes that we had going the whole time. It's lovely to see all y'all, and I hope the rest of your day is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Goodbye, y'all.
Good night, everybody.